Shaksgam Valley lies just north of the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, where Indian forces dominate the Saltoro Ridge. This is a strategic pressure point in India-China Pak Triangle, vital for long-term security balance in high Himalayas. A Chinese presence here raises concerns of a potential two-front pressure scenario for India, with China to the north and Pakistan to the west. The developments come even as a delegation of the Communist Party of China, led by Sun Haiyan, Vice Minister of the International Department of the CPC, visited the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. The BJP said discussions focused on enhancing inter-party communication between the BJP and the CPC. Chinese ambassador to India, Zhu Fiehong, also joined the meeting. Congress launched a sharp attack on the BJP, alleging that China was asserting territorial claims while political engagement continued in the capital. Congress leader Supriya Srinath tweeted, "How is China showing such audacity?" And meanwhile, BJP leaders are holding meetings with China's Communist Party. Shaksgam Valley has emerged as another serious flashpoint in the already tense India-China relationship. For India, this is a direct question of sovereignty and territorial integrity as China hardens its position and expands infrastructure in the territory.
All right, let's look at some other stories from across the country in Bharat in 1 minute. Rahul Mamakutathil, the expelled Congress MLA from Palakkad, Kerala, has been granted 3 days of police custody by the court in connection with a sexual assault case. He will remain in custody till January 15th and his bail plea would be considered on January 16th. Security forces launched a cordon and search operation in the forest areas of Gadole, Kokarnag and Anantnag district of South Kashmir. The operation, jointly initiated by the Army and Anantnag Police, plus other security agencies, is ongoing. An encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists in Kathua district of the Jammu region during a search operation. According to sources, a Jaish terrorist is likely trapped in the area. All right, we are slipping a short break. Coming up on the other side, Chinese claims on Shaksgam Valley countered by Chief of Army Staff of India, General Upen Dwivedi. And a big reveal by the chief on Operation Sindu says India was ready to launch ground offensive.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Not there, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा। मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, ये तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा,
मसाला।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the two tankers
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy every day.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized two oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the two tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy. The US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked and
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जलजीरा मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized two oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the two tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, It's clear that
despite the MBA setting the record straight on Shaksgam Valley, the RSS and BJP leaders hold a meeting at the BJP headquarters with CCP delegation. And right after this meeting, Beijing provokes yet again in a press conference on the Shaksgam Valley. That is the new flashpoint now between New Delhi and Beijing. Meanwhile, the army chief has set the record straight. He has drawn the red line on Shaksgam. We'll tell you about that on 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita Mishra.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात।
वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है?
अरे मेरे राजा,
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
the icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot.
Despite the MBA setting the record straight on Shaksgam Valley, the RSS and BJP leaders hold a meeting at the BJP headquarters with CCP delegation. And right after this meeting, Beijing provokes yet again in a press conference on the Shaksgam Valley. That is the new flashpoint now between New Delhi and Beijing. Meanwhile, the army chief has set the record straight. He has drawn the red line on Shaksgam. We'll tell you about that on 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita Mishra.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good evening, viewers. You're watching the Tuesday edition of 6 Stories at 6 with me, Rakshita. We'll start this show with the fresh provocation from Beijing. This is the Shaksgam Valley flashpoint that we are talking about. The war of words between India and China continues. Story number 2 on 6 Stories at 6 is the Army Chief's revelation on Operation Sindu. From what made Pakistan beg to the ground assault plan of the Indian Army. He tells us the details about that. Story number 3 is the relief that has come in for the gig workers on the 10-minute delivery promise. And other story that we're tracking for you on 6 Stories at 6 is there is another Hindu who has been killed in Bangladesh. This is the second Hindu murder that has happened in the country in the past 24 hours. And another story that we are tracking for you is the 25% tariff threat for truce. That's the deal that Trump is trying to strike with Khamenei. And also, last but not the least, we're going to tell you about Trump's mission Greenland. He has his eyes set on it, and we'll tell you what's happening on that front. But let's start with China. Now, China has dug in its heels over the construction activities, and it has rejected India's objection and calling it actions fully justified. Developments come after India raised objections over the announcement of a second version of the CPEC, which passes through the Shaksgam Valley in eastern Ladakh. New Delhi, first of all, has rejected CPEC. It rejects the 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China, the illegal transfer of the land that is not even owned by Pakistan. And remember, this is not the first time that China has provoked India over territorial claims using the CPEC corridor. Meanwhile, Congress party has hit out at the BJP for hosting a delegation of the Communist Party of China in New Delhi at the BJP headquarters, because right after that comes in Beijing's provocation, reasserting claims on the Shaksgam Valley. Listen in.
China has once again sought to lay claim to the Shaksgam Valley in Ladakh, which is an integral part of India. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said Beijing considers the area to be part of its territory.
First of all, the territory you have mentioned are part of China's territory, and China's infrastructure activities in its own territory is beyond reproach.
This comes after India's protest of Pakistan and China's announcement of the launch of the second version of CPEC. India noted that it passes through Shaksgam Valley, which it says is an integral part of Ladakh. However, Beijing has defended its project in the area and rejected India's objections. Shaksgam Valley, also known as the Trans-Karakoram Tract, is a strategically vital region in the Karakoram range. China says the area falls under its jurisdiction. India says Shaksgam Valley is part of Ladakh.
首先，你提到的领土属于中国领土，中方在自己的领土上开展基础设施建设无可非议。中国和巴基斯坦已于上个世纪的60年代签署了边界协定，并且划定了两国的边界，这是中巴作为主权国家的权利。那么你提到中巴经济走廊，这是一个经济合作倡议，旨在促进当地的经济社会发展和改善民生。中巴边界协定和中巴经济走廊不影响中方在克什米尔问题上的立场，中方在这个问题上的立场没有变化。
Shaksgam Valley, an area spread over more than 5,000 square kilometers, was illegally ceded by Pakistan to China in 1963, a move India has never recognized. China is using this 1963 deal to justify its growing presence and infrastructure activity in the region. India maintains Pakistan had no authority to hand over this territory. However, China remains defiant. Beijing has rejected India's strong objection to its construction activity in Shaksgam Valley and has called its actions fully justified. China says the project is a normal infrastructure activity within its territory. China says India's objections are unfounded. India counters that China has no locus standi on Indian territory. China says Shaksgam is Chinese territory. India reiterates Shaksgam Valley is an integral and inalienable part of India.
Shaksgam Valley is Indian territory. We have never recognized the so-called China-Pakistan boundary agreement that happened in 1963. We have consistently maintained that the agreement is illegal and invalid. We do not recognize the so-called China-Pakistan economic corridor either, which passes through Indian territory that is under forcible and illegal occupation of Pakistan. The entire union territories of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh are an integral and inalienable part of India. This has been clearly conveyed to Pakistani and the Chinese authorities several times. We have consistently protested with the Chinese side against attempts to alter the ground reality in Shaksgam Valley. We further reserve the right to take necessary measures to safeguard our interests.
Reports indicate China is building an all-weather road in Shaksgam Valley that could link the China-Pakistan economic corridor with China's strategic G219 highway. This would significantly enhance military and logistical mobility for both China and Pakistan close to India's northern borders. Security experts say this could alter strategic balance in the area.
देखिए, सक्सगाम वैली की जहाँ तक बात है, पाकिस्तान ऑक्यूपाइड जो भी कश्मीर है वो भारतीय की पार्लियामेंट में पहले से ही प्रस्ताव पास हुआ है और उस प्रस्ताव के मुताबिक सारा जो पाक ऑक्यूपाइड कश्मीर है वो हमारा है।
Shaksgam Valley lies just north of the Siachen Glacier, the world's highest battlefield, where Indian forces dominate the Saltoro Ridge. This is a strategic pressure point in India-China-Pak Triangle. Vital for long-term security balance in high Himalayas, a Chinese presence here raises concerns of a potential two-front pressure scenario for India, with China to the north and Pakistan to the west. The developments come even as a delegation of the Communist Party of China, led by Sun Haiyan, Vice Minister of the International Department of the CPC, visited the BJP headquarters in New Delhi. The BJP said discussions focused on enhancing inter-party communication between the BJP and the CPC. Chinese ambassador to India, Zhu Fiehong, also joined the meeting. Congress launched a sharp attack on the BJP, alleging that China was asserting territorial claims while political engagement continued in the capital. Congress leader Supriya Srinath tweeted, "How is China showing such audacity?" And meanwhile, BJP leaders are holding meetings with China's Communist Party. Shaksgam Valley has emerged as another serious flashpoint in the already tense India-China relationship. For India, this is a direct question of sovereignty and territorial integrity as China hardens its position and expands infrastructure in the territory.
Now, in the annual press conference ahead of Army Day, the Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, has made revelations on Operation Sindu, from the plan for a ground operation to what made Pakistan beg. General Dwivedi has talked about the turning points that brought Pakistan to its knees. He reveals the set of certain orders were given to the armed forces to prepare for any eventuality if Pakistan conflict, the India-Pakistan war, escalated. And at the same time, he issued a warning against Pakistan for any misadventure in future. Very importantly, also issued a message, given the current scenario in world, given the current geopolitical scenario, that nations that remain prepared prevail. Listen in.
The Chief of Army Staff, General Upendra Dwivedi, made a big revelation on Operation Sindu during his annual press conference ahead of Army Day. General Dwivedi revealed that the Indian Army was ready for ground assault during Operation Sindu.
आर्मी का जो मोबिलाइजेशन था वो इस प्रकार से था कि कोई भी ऐसी गलती अगर पाकिस्तान ने की जिसमें कि हमें मजबूर होना पड़ा ग्राउंड ऑपरेशन शुरू होने के लिए, हमने पूरी तैयारी कर रखी थी। तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि जहाँ तक न्यूक्लियर रेटोरिक का सवाल था, डीजीएमओ लेवल पे कोई ऐसी बात नहीं हुई थी और कन्वेंशनल स्पेस को हमने बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ाया।
General Dwivedi also lauded the precision and synergy witnessed during the Sindoor operation.
Following the Pahalgam terror attack, a clear decision to respond decisively was taken at the highest level. Op Sindoor was conceptualized and executed with precision. Operation Sindoor remains ongoing. Operation Sindoor was the best example of tri-service synergy under clear-cut political directive and full freedom to act or respond.
He also highlighted the India's response to cross-border terrorism through Operation Sindoor and the progress made in the year 2025.
India's calibrated and resolute response to cross-border terrorism demonstrated our readiness, precision, and strategic clarity. Through our various initiatives, as part of JAY, that is Jointness, Atmanirbharta and Innovation, clarion call given by our Honorable Prime Minister in September 25, Year of Reforms, given by Honorable Raksha Mantri in January 2025, and Indian Army's own Decade of Transformation, we can be justifiably very satisfied with the progress made during the year 2025.
The Army Chief stated that nearly 8 terror camps remain active in the region, adding that the forces are closely monitoring them.
जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि क्या वापस बाहर के जो कैंप्स हैं, जो वेस्ट साइड कैंप्स हैं, जिसके बारे में मैंने अभी बताया कि 8 कैंप्स अभी भी वहाँ पे एक्टिव हैं हमारी नॉलेज में, और उस पर अभी भी लोग बैठे हुए हैं। कितने बैठे हैं ये अलग अलग इसके सोच विचार हैं, बट हमारी तरफ से अगर देखा जाए तो तकरीबन 100 से 150 लोग हो सकता है वहाँ पर बैठे हैं।
Reiterating the army's firm resolve, General Upendra Dwivedi asserted that Operation Sindu is very much ongoing and warned that any misadventure will be met with a swift and effective response.
Now, the government has finally stepped in to slow down India's breakneck quick delivery race. After growing concerns over delivery riders risking their lives to meet impossible deadlines, Union Labour Minister Mansukh Mandavia has intervened. Blinkit has now dropped its 10-minute delivery claim. Other apps are expected to follow suit. So the message is clear that convenience cannot come at the cost of human lives, at the cost of safety. And this happened after there was persistent pressure and there were strikes also by the gig workers. Take a look at this report.
For years, quick commerce platforms built their identity around speed, celebrating delivery in minutes. But behind that promise was a silent pressure, pushing riders to race, rush, and risk their safety on the roads. Amid rising concerns, the Union Labour Minister, Dr. Mansukh Mandavia, has stepped in, calling major delivery platforms for discussions. Following the intervention, Blinkit has removed its iconic 10-minute delivery claim from all platforms. Other giants have assured the government that they too will step back from strict delivery time commitments.
डिमांड तो अभी बहुत सारी है। सबसे पहले तो है कि इनको एम्प्लॉय का दर्जा दिया जाए। दूसरा, 15-15 घंटे काम करके गिग वर्कर या ब्लिंकिट, स्विगी, जोमेटो मुश्किल से 500-700-800 रुपये कमा पाता है 15 घंटे काम करके, तो उसको मिनिमम वेजेस के दायरे में लेके आया जाए। इनके लिए कोई पेंशन स्कीम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई मेडिक्लेम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई इंश्योरेंस नहीं है। बाइक का पेट्रोल इनको अपनी जेब से खर्चा करना पड़ता है। मान लीजिए ई स्कूटी भी ले रखी है तो किराए पे ले रखी है। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि मान लीजिए दिल्ली है या बॉम्बे है या कलकत्ता है, मद्रास है, बड़े शहर हैं, जितना भी गिग वर्कर है वहां पर वो बाहर के शहरों, छोटे शहरों से, गांवों से आके नौकरी कर रहा है।
The push for reform gained momentum after gig workers across India protested. From Telangana to major metros, riders demanded dignity, fair pay, safer working conditions, and recognition of their contribution. In response, the government has proposed a major welfare move. Gig workers may soon receive access to central social security schemes, including health and accidental insurance. Now, as India's quick delivery promises slow down, a bigger promise takes shape of respect and protection for the workforce that delivers convenience to millions every single day.
Now, as a disturbing pattern of violence against Hindus continue to escalate in Bangladesh, 2 more Hindus were brutally killed in Bangladesh in the past 24 hours. That makes a total of 8 Hindu murders in 24 days in Bangladesh. And in the recent killing, an auto rickshaw driver named Samir Das was hacked and stabbed to death by miscreants in Feni district of Bangladesh. His body was recovered from a crop field in Jagatpur village of Bangladesh. Is more.
There seems no end to the target killing of Hindus in Bangladesh. In the past 24 hours, 2 Hindus have been brutally murdered in Bangladesh. Latest case is that of an auto rickshaw driver, Samir Kumar Das, was also found murdered in a crop field. Locals reportedly spotted his blood-soaked body near Muhuribari in South Karimpur. As per the police, Samir suffered multiple stab wounds and had signs of severe assault. The police also stated that after killing him, the attacker stole his battery-operated auto rickshaw and fled. Not just this, veteran Bangladeshi singer and Awami League leader Prolay Chaki, who died in custody. Family alleges negligence and denial of medical care from the authorities. Chaki, a popular singer of the 1980s, served as Cultural Affairs Secretary of the Pabna District Awami League. Proloy was arrested on 16 December 2025 in connection with an alleged attack during the anti-discrimination student movement and later sent to jail. In fact, this is the 8th Hindu to be murdered in the past 24 days. First Deepu Chandradas, then Amrit Mondal and Khokon Chandradas, who were brutally lynched and killed. The list has been growing. There has been little or no action. Nothing done to stop the persecution of Hindus in the country. A free run given to the radical extremists. Yunus government ahead of the elections has seemingly no control, or rather, it is under the control of the extremists. Jamaat-e-Islami calling the shots.
And as Iran witnesses its most intense wave of protests in decades, deadly protests, the United States has sharply hardened its position once again against Tehran. President Donald Trump now has announced fresh economic pressure on Tehran, a 25% tariff on countries trading with Iran, while keeping military options on the table. Even as Washington signals a tough line, Iran says that it is open to dialogue. Here's the full story.
US-Iran tensions escalating. Washington weighs a hardline response to Iran's bloodiest protests in decades. President Donald Trump has announced sweeping new measures aimed at exerting maximum pressure on Tehran. The protests in Iran, now in their third week, were sparked by economic hardship and have morphed into nationwide demands for political change. With civil liberties groups reporting hundreds of fatalities and thousands detained. In response, President Trump took to social media to declare that any nation doing business with Iran will now face a 25% tariff on trade with the United States, effective immediately. The tariff announcement has raised concerns among major trading partners of Iran, including India and China. The White House has not formally detailed the legal basis for the tariffs or how they will be enforced, but the move is seen as part of a broader strategy to isolate Iran economically and diplomatically. At the same time, Trump signaled that very strong options remain on the table, including the possibility of military action.
I think one thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing publicly from the Iranian regime is quite differently from the messages the administration is receiving privately, and I think the president has an interest in exploring those messages. However, with that said, the president has shown he's unafraid to use military options if and when he deems necessary, and nobody knows that better than Iran.
Tehran, however, maintains that it is open to negotiations, even as it rejects foreign interference. Iran's Supreme Leader Khamenei warned the United States to stop deceitful actions and reliance on traitorous hirelings. In a series of posts on X, Khamenei further added, "The Iranian nation is strong, powerful and aware. It knows the enemy and is always present on the scene." Meanwhile, Western governments urge restraint and respect for human rights, while Iran's leadership warns that any external military action would be met with a forceful response. With protests deepening and the United States weighing military actions, Iran now stands at the center of a rapidly unfolding global crisis, with significant implications for regional stability and world markets.
And on to the final story, US President Donald Trump's Greenland push is back in focus. A Republican lawmaker in US Congress has now moved a bill seeking to annex Greenland and make it America's 51st state. Now, this proposal has triggered sharp reactions internationally, with Denmark and Greenland rejecting any such move. Here's a detailed report on that.
Another step towards Donald Trump's Greenland push, now through legislation. A US Congressman, Randy Fine, has introduced a bill in the House of Representatives that would allow the American president to take steps to acquire Greenland. The proposed law talks about annexation and even future statehood for the island. This comes after Donald Trump once again spoke about doing something on Greenland, reviving his old pitch to bring the Arctic island under American control. Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark and is located in the strategically crucial Arctic region. It is rich in rare earth minerals and lies close to key shipping routes and military pathways. Supporters of the bill claim Greenland is vital for America's national security. They argue it would help counter growing Chinese and Russian influence in the Arctic. But Denmark has made its position clear. Copenhagen says Greenland is not for sale and its future can be only decided by its people. Greenland's own leadership has also rejected the proposal, saying the island is not a commodity to be bought, sold, or annexed. Interestingly, the move has divided American lawmakers themselves. Some Republicans support the idea, while Democrats have introduced counter bills to stop any attempt at annexation. But Trump remains rigid, saying he has not ruled out using military force. Trump says he plans to take control of the island the easy way or the hard way. This is not the first time the US has shown interest in Greenland. Washington had explored buying the island during the Cold War. Trump also previously made an offer to buy the island in 2019 during his first presidential term, but was told it was not for sale. He revived his interest shortly after returning to the White House in January 2025. For now, the Greenland annexation bill remains a political statement rather than a legal reality. But the big question is, will this stop Donald Trump's territorial ambitions?
And that's all we could pack in this edition of 6 Stories at 6. We'll be right back with breaking news at 6:30 p.m. Thanks for watching.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार. क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे. केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार. विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला. सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy. The US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रूंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रूंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ। 8 मिनट में तैयार। क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो तुम्हारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी।
हर पल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने। The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the Western Hemisphere, the so-called Monroe or the latest Donroe doctrine, they are the boss, they are the mafioso. Because the first reaction that has come from Russia says that this is absolutely in breach of international matters. Welcome back, friends. Army Chief General Upinder Dwivedi has given scares to the Islamabad establishment today by claiming that during Operation Sindu, India was ready to go all in with troops in a ground offensive. Had Pakistan given us an opportunity, they of course capitulated before that. That's our focus this prime time. Let's begin with the headlines. ICC rejects Bangladesh Cricket Board's request again, asks board to reconsider its stance about moving games out of India. Okay, we had to come out of the headlines because there is a big breaking coming in, big twist in the Sanjay Kapoor inheritance battle. Remember the will war going on between yesterday's actor, Bollywood actor Karisma Kapoor, former wife of Sanjay Kapoor, and of course Priya Sachdeva, who was the present wife when Sanjay Kapoor passed away in an accident last year in the United Kingdom. Now, questions over Priya Sachdeva's claim emerging. Big one there, a trench war that was going on between Karisma Kapoor and Priya Sachdeva now has revelations coming in. The twist is that whether, as claimed by Priya Sachdeva, that she was or is a witness to the will that was signed by Sanjay Kapoor before he died, the rupees 30,000 crore inheritance battle in the will, which is now in the courts. It seems that as per call detailed records, Priya Sachdeva was not in fact a witness, not present when the will was signed in Gurgaon, because her location seems to be somewhere in Delhi. We'll try and find out. Let's see if Rhythm is joining us live for more on this. We are getting Niranjan, in fact, live from the newsroom on this, and that's a big development. Niranjan, if you're there already with us, it seems there is information coming out that Priya Sachdeva was not a witness because she was not present. She could not be a witness because she was not present as per her call detailed records in Gurugram. So this becomes a curious case of a witness who was not present.
Well, Abhishek, these are, first of all, let's tell you that these are documents circulating on social media. So I'm just putting that caveat out there that these are documents circulating on social media. These are documents doing the rounds. But what these documents doing the rounds and being circulated on social media show, and it's all over the place, it's being reported everywhere, that on the 21st of March, now when you look at the will, the signature of Priya Sachdeva Kapoor is on that will. Now what did that will say? Let's go from the top. It said that the said will was executed by late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor on the 21st of March 2025 in presence of two witnesses, namely Mr. Dinesh Kumar Agarwal, Mr. Nitin Sharma, at the office of Aureus Investment Private Limited, Gurugram, India. The signature of the late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor along with the signatures of the witnesses are duly affixed on the will. Defendant number 1 was also present. Now, when you go through the documents, Abhishek, of who defendant number 1 was, it is clear that Priya Sachdeva was defendant number 1 in this particular case. Now, that is as far as the will is concerned, where there is an affidavit filed in court, and in the affidavit, Priya Sachdeva had signed saying that she was present. I think Priya Rhythm is live with us on the phone. Maybe we can go across to her. She has full details in the breakup. Abhishek, maybe we can take it to her.
Yeah, absolutely, Niranjan. You also stay with us because this is a significant development insofar as that trench war is concerned. Rhythm Anand Bharadwaj joins us live. In fact, Rhythm, a big twist there in the legal battle over Sanjay Kapoor's will. What are the facts that you've gathered, Rhythm?
Well, let's tell our viewers, Abhishek, in the affidavit signed by Priya Sachdeva, she had stated under oath that on 21st of March 2025, she was present at the AIPL office in Gurgaon, where the will that had been allegedly signed by the late Sanjay Kapoor was there in the presence of 2 other witnesses. Now the social media details and this, chatter that we are picking up shows, the call data locations, the CDR shows, according to what is being shown on social media records, that this is a completely different story. The call data records that are there on the social media show that on 21st March 2025, the entire day's tower location of Priya Sachdeva's places her in Rajokri, Delhi. There is no call data, tower data placing her in Gurgaon at any point that day. Her first recorded movement into Gurgaon appears only on 24th March, which is 3 days after her alleged execution of the will. The Gurgaon tower location is clearly reflected on the CDR that day. Why is this crucial, Abhishek? Because Priya Sachdeva had claimed that she was an eyewitness to the signing of the will by her late husband, Sanjay Kapoor. Her physical presence in Gurgaon is there on the affidavit, which I reread after going through the social media chatter that is there. The CDRs directly contradict her sworn statement. Now, even as we're breaking this out, we're also going to be reaching out to Priya Sachdeva to give her reaction, but I'm also going to read out that affidavit page where it says that the said will was executed by the late Sanjay Kapoor on 21st March 2025 in the presence of two witnesses at AIPL Gurgaon office. The signature of late Sanjay Kapoor along with the signatures of the witnesses are duly affixed on the will. It is the next line in this affidavit that is very crucial. Defendant number one was also present. In this case, the 30,000 crore inheritance battle that's being fought in the Delhi High Court, Priya Sachdeva is defendant number one. I reread that line from the affidavit. Defendant number one was also present. If she was present, then we need to ask Priya Sachdeva and need to understand how there are questions now being raised in this massive twist coming in where the social media now says that there seems to be a lie about the will because it's clearly being shown according to the call data records that in fact she was not even present in Gurgaon on 21st March last year when she says this alleged will had been signed. The questions that need to be answered by Priya Sachdeva and her team are very clear. This is something that the lawyers have been also stating in the court. The will is bogus, it's false. We have to see what she will say.
Rhythm, just quick question before I let you go. As it emerges from these documents that are circulating, either it's a case of very bad drafting, in which case Priya Sachdeva's lawyer has done her in, or it's a case of Priya Sachdeva lying. In either case, they have to come out and put across their side of the story on this.
Abhishek, you've hit the nail on the head. We don't really know what is there in the drafting, but there are serious doubts being raised in this case because of how it's been drafted. It's several times in this affidavit we have seen, and the other side have said that there are a lot of misgivings they have with the will. Several times, in fact, Mahesh Jethmalani, appearing for Karishma Kapoor's children in the case, has very clearly told the court that the will is false. He's clearly questioned that Sanjay Kapoor himself was a very meticulous person. How then would he have misspelled his son's name? How then would such errors have been there?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are showing those documents publicly available, Rhythm, which show Priya Sachdeva Kapoor's signatures as well. Now, if she was not there, then who signed it on her behalf? Or this really is taking us into the direction that maybe the will is forged.
That's something that they'll have to see. We also need to remember Mother Rani Kapoor has also said that the will is suspicious. Rani Kapoor has also said that in this case, before the Delhi High Court, that his wife has potentially moved the money across the border. The submission was made through senior advocate Vaibhav Gagar, Rani's lawyer, amid the high-stakes inheritance battle over the late businessman's personal estate. And several times now that we are seeing this, we have seen as to what needs to happen in the case now, Abhishek, is there needs to be a clarification. Has there been the will that has been forged? This is suspicious is what Mahesh Jethmalani has told the court. Priya Sachdeva has told the court other things, but Sanjay Kapoor's will uses a female pronouns to describe him. It couldn't have been signed by him, is what has been said in the courtroom by the lawyers for Karishma Kapoor. Why would the female pronoun be used for him and he would have signed the will, remembering that he's a meticulous businessman, which is being stated by everyone who's actually gone through and had any dealings with this man.
Last question, Rhythm, before I let you go. If that be the case, that the authenticity of the will is now under cloud, what happens in the court? Which side has to take the lead in terms of putting across the CDRs to prove that Priya Sachdeva was not actually present in Gurugram on the day that the will was signed in Gurugram?
Yes, that's very true, Abhishek. That's something that we'll have to see. This matter could as these allegations are there on the social media, if this matter is verified, then no matter what, it will have to be placed before the Delhi High Court, in who's hearing this matter, whose order is awaited in this case. The inheritance battle over Sanjay Kapoor's assets now intensifies. Remember, earlier we'd seen the lawyers launching a sharp attack on Priya Sateva. They had described her as an acute gambler. They also said that in this entire case, the will seems to have been having no proof. The will is relied. I remember Mr. Jethmalani has said riddled with errors, questionable authenticity, lacked any proof of having been drafted or signed by Sanjay himself. It said that unless Sanjay was of unsound mind or didn't know English, he would not have signed a will that made a glaring grammatical factual mistake like calling him a female. So lots of things that will have to be now ascertained. He stressed there is no proof that Sanjay drafted the will. There is no digital footprint, no handwriting, no evidence. And I remember he said it almost seems like Sanjay Kapoor is a digital ghost. Serious infirmities in the will is what had been stated. These are allegations now that seem to be very corroborative with what is being put on the social media chatter that we are seeing. It's a very serious charge now. If the call data records show that Priya Sateva was not even present in Gurgaon when she, on a signed affidavit before the Delhi High Court, in black and white ink, on a sworn affidavit, says that in fact she was present when the will was signed. This is now no longer only about the 30,000 crore inheritance, but this is clearly lying to the constitutional courts of the country, Abhishek.
All right, interesting development there. Thank you, Rhythm, for joining us with those details. A celebrity will battle going on in the courts with the interesting twists and turns that keep emerging. Moving on, let's look at some other stories from across the country in Bharat in 1 minute. Rahul Mamakutathil, the expelled Congress MLA from Palakkad, Kerala, has been granted 3 days of police custody by the court in connection with the sexual assault case against him. He will remain with police till January 15 and his bail plea will be considered on January 16th. Security forces launched a cordon and search operation in the forest areas of Gadole in Kokarnag of Anantnag district in South Kashmir. The operation was initiated jointly by the Army, Anantnag Police and other security agencies. An encounter broke out between security forces and terrorists in Kathua district of Jammu region during a search operation. According to sources, a Jaish terrorist is likely trapped in the area. All right, moving on. The government has finally stepped in to slow down India's breakneck quick delivery race. After growing concerns over delivery riders risking their lives to meet impossible deadlines, Union Labour Minister Mansukh Mandavia has intervened. Blinkit, for now, has dropped its 10-minute delivery claim, and others like Zepto, Swiggy and Zomato are or may follow suit. The message is clear. Convenience cannot come at the cost of human lives. Here are the details.
For years, quick commerce platforms built their identity around speed, celebrating delivery in minutes. But behind that promise was a silent pressure, pushing riders to race, rush and risk their safety on the roads. Amid rising concerns, the Union Labour Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has stepped in, calling major delivery platforms for discussions. Following the intervention, Blinkit has removed its iconic 10-minute delivery claim from all platforms. Other giants have assured the government that they too will step back from strict delivery time commitments.
डिमांड तो अभी बहुत सारी हैं। सबसे पहले तो है कि इनको एम्प्लॉय का दर्जा दिया जाए। दूसरा 15-15 घंटे काम करके गिग वर्कर या ब्लिंकिट, स्विगी, जोमेटो मुश्किल से 500-700-800 रुपये कमा पाता है 15 घंटे काम करके, तो उसको मिनिमम वेजेस के दायरे में लेके आया जाए। इनके लिए कोई पेंशन स्कीम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई मेडिक्लेम नहीं है, इनके लिए कोई इंश्योरेंस नहीं है। बाइक का पेट्रोल इनको अपनी जेब से खर्चा करना पड़ता है। मान लीजिए ई स्कूटी भी ले रखी है तो किराए पे ले रखी है। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि मान लीजिए दिल्ली है या बॉम्बे है या कलकत्ता कलकत्ता है, मद्रास है, बड़े शहर हैं, जितना भी गिग वर्कर है वहां पर वो बाहर के शहरों, छोटे शहरों से, गांवों से आके नौकरी कर रहा है.
The push for reform gained momentum after gig workers across India protested. From Telangana to major metros, riders demanded dignity, fair pay, safer working conditions, and recognition of their contribution. In response, the government has proposed a major welfare move. Gig workers may soon receive access to central social security schemes, including health and accidental insurance. Now, as India's quick delivery promises slow down, a bigger promise takes shape of respect and protection for the workforce that delivers convenience to millions every single day.
All right, a big development coming in, breaking that with the... We'll get Sharda in a bit, but TVK chief Thalapathy Vijay has been summoned again by the Central Bureau of Investigation and a date has been fixed. Remember, he was questioned for 6 hours yesterday. Now, for second round of questioning, he has been called to Delhi on 19th of January. The TVK chief Vijay to be questioned by the CBI again for the second time on 19th of January in connection with the Karur stampede, which happened on September 27, which led to the loss of lives of 40 individuals, persons, supporters of Vijay, essentially because of the kind of mismanagement of the rally venue we saw. And CBI now calling Vijay for the second time on 19th of January is the development we are getting to here. We'll try either Sharda or Shavan for more on this. CBI, which questioned the actor for 6 hours yesterday, grilled him on what were the aspects of management which perhaps were neglected by the party, Vijay's party, which is contesting elections as a contender in the assembly for the first time, and Tamil Nadu assembly for the first time, and it was as part of that campaign that rally on September 27 in Karur met with the stampede happened on September 27 in Karur, and that's when 40 lives were lost. Now, a probe being carried out by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and Vijay already questioned once, to be questioned for the second round on 19th. This is more like corroborative questioning based on whatever Vijay told them about the management aspects of the rally, how it was managed or rather mismanaged, who all were in charge, what were the timings given, how late Vijay arrived at the rally venue, because remember, he was supposed to come in the afternoon, came in the late evening. There's 6-7 hours of gap, and that led to a crowd build-up, and in the sweltering heat, some of them collapsed, stampede happened, and now a probe being carried out. All right, we come out of Tamil Nadu and on to Bangladesh, where a disturbing pattern of violence against minorities continues to escalate. Another Hindu man was hacked and stabbed to death by miscreants in Feni district now. The body of 27-year-old auto rickshaw driver Samir Das was recovered from a crop field in Jagatpur village on Monday. Citing family members, the police has stated that Samir left home in his auto rickshaw on Sunday evening. When he failed to return late into the night, his relatives began searching for him at various locations. The police say his body bore several stab injuries and indicated that Samir was taken to a secluded spot and brutally killed by the assailants.
There seems no end to the target killing of Hindus in Bangladesh. In the past 24 hours, 2 Hindus have been brutally murdered in Bangladesh. Latest case is that of an auto rickshaw driver, Samir Kumar Das, was also found murdered in a crop field. Locals reportedly spotted his blood-soaked body near Muhuribari in South Karimpur. As per the police, Samir suffered multiple stab wounds and had signs of severe assault. The police also stated that after killing him, the attacker stole his battery-operated auto rickshaw and fled. Not just this, veteran Bangladeshi singer and Awami League leader Pralay Chaki, who died in custody. Family alleges negligence and denial of medical care from the authorities. Chaki, a popular singer of the 1980s, served as Cultural Affairs Secretary of the Pabna District Awami League. Pralay was arrested on 16 December 2025 in connection with an alleged attack during the anti-discrimination student movement and later sent to jail. In fact, this is the 8th Hindu to be murdered in the past 24 days. First Deepu Chandradas, then Amrit Mondal and Khokon Chandradas, who were brutally lynched and killed. The list has been growing. There has been little or no action. Nothing done to stop the persecution of Hindus in the country, a free run given to the radical extremists. Yunus government ahead of the elections has seemingly no control, or rather, it is under the control of the extremists. Jamaat-e-Islami calling the shots.
At 7 p.m. on This Is Exclusive, we have an unexpected twist to the 30,000 crore inheritance battle. Did Priya Sachdev lie about being in Gurugram when she signed the will? Did she lie in court? There are documents doing the rounds that contradict her claim. Big twist, live at 7 p.m.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ 8 मिनट में तैयार क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध, MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy. The US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela. And that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where...
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रूंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रूंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा राजा और मसाला
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल बनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
MDH की देगी मिर्च
देगी मिर्च का तड़का अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been an unexpected twist in what is one of the biggest inheritance battles of our times, a battle for the 30,000 crore Sanjay Kapoor empire. Now, in the last few hours, a few developments have taken place which put the claim of Priya Sachdev in doubt. Now, why is this important? So far, Priya Sachdev has maintained that she was witness to the will being signed. But there are documents now circulating that show that her entire claim of being in Gurugram is in question, which means the entire case is in doubt. We'll tell you all about that in the next few minutes with the documents. Here are the headlines on This Is Exclusive. A big twist in the Sanjay Kapoor inheritance battle. Questions over Priya Sachdev's claims of being present during the signing of the will. It's the first meeting since the Galwan clash. Chinese Communist Party delegation visits the BJP office. Fireworks, political fireworks follow.
So as the Shaksgam Valley is concerned, India considers 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China as illegal. Therefore, any activity in Shaksgam Valley is concerned, we do not approve of it.
India shows the mirror to China, says Beijing. Pakistan pact on the Shaksgam Valley is invalid, says we are concerned with any activity in the Shaksgam Valley. Sindu intervenes on the 10-minute delivery policy of quick commerce platforms. Blinkit, Swiggy, Zomato, etc. now asked to drop the 10-minute promise on their platforms. So we have breaking news this evening. A few minutes back, we broke some details in connection with the 30,000 crore Sanjay Kapoor inheritance battle. Now there's a huge twist to the story. Questions now being raised over Priya Sachdev's claim of being present in Gurugram on the 21st of March 2025, the day that she signed in court an affidavit and claimed that she was there when the will was signed. She says she was witness to the will being signed. Documents now circulating are saying a different story, ladies and gentlemen. And here is why it is raising questions. Now, according to these documents being circulated, CDR location data accessed, according to these documents circulating, shows that all of 21st of March, he was in Delhi. Now, in the will that was signed, Priya Sachdev, signatory to the will, signatory to this affidavit on the will rather, had said that the will was executed by Sanjay Kapoor on the 21st of March in the presence of two witnesses, namely Dinesh Kumar Agarwal and Nitin Sharma at the office of Orias Investment Private Limited, Gurgaon, India. The signature of late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, along with the signatures of the witnesses, are duly affixed on the will. Defendant number one was also present. Now, but now this is why it's concerning. Now, call detail records of documents being circulated, documents doing the rounds show that on the 21st of March, she may have been in Delhi and not in Gurugram. Now, these are what documents circulating in the social media are claiming. And reports suggest that she was in Delhi and not in Gurugram as claimed. Now, this is what the documents suggest, or the CDR and the tower records, tower location show that all of 21st of March she was perhaps in Delhi. In fact, the first recorded presence in Gurugram is 3 days later, which is the 24th of March 2025. Now, that is the question. And this is why it becomes interesting, ladies and gentlemen. It becomes interesting because Priya Sachdev, there are questions over the affidavit now, because did Priya Sachdev make a false declaration in the affidavit? Now, that is the question that many people have begun to ask. Did she make a false declaration in the affidavit? Because she claimed she was in Gurugram, but these documents circulating show that she was in Delhi. The entire day's tower location is shown as Delhi as per the documents which are now being circulated. And according to these documents, there is no call tower placing her in Gurugram. So that is why it gets even more interesting. The first recorded movement in Gurugram is on the 24th of March. Now, why does this matter? Now, does this put the entire claim on the will under a cloud? Now, that's the question. Take a look at this once more. This is what she said in that signed affidavit. The will was executed by late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor on the 21st of March in the presence of two witnesses, namely Dinesh Kumar Agarwal, Nitin Sharma at the office of Orias Investment Private Limited. Signature of late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor along with the signatures of the witnesses are duly affixed on the will. Defendant number one. Defendant number one. Now that's the important thing. Defendant number one was also present. Defendant number one in this particular case becomes Priya Sachdev. Now, was she in Gurugram now, or was she in Delhi? Now, it's getting interesting. Let me go across to Swapnil Kothari. Swapnil joining us live on This Is Exclusive. Swapnil, it just opens up the entire case. Now, as an advocate, what does this mean? I mean, these are documents circulating, we don't know, but claims are being made left, right, center now.
Well, this is a classic case of a person who claims to have seen the testator executing the will in front of one's own eyes, stating so in an affidavit, which is a statement on oath before a court of law, and documentary evidence providing otherwise, where the other document is saying something totally to the contrary. So the things do not match, there is no corroboration. So obviously the fact that you said something on an affidavit saying that you noticed this will being made in a particular fashion with a particular beneficiary or executor of the will, or giving or bequeathing certain assets in favor of X or Y, some completely falls flat on its face, at least your statement, meaning the statement of the person who's making it on an affidavit. Because the CDR evidence points entirely to the contrary, Niranjan. So now it is going to be a difficult task for the lawyer of Priya Sachdev to come out and say that whatever was stated on affidavit was the truth. And if it is the truth, then why there is a contradictory evidence? So you have to explain the anomaly. And if you are not able to explain the anomaly for whatever reasons, whether it's due to inadvertence or due to deliberate intention, the fact is that the corroboration does not happen. Things do not match. So now if there are several other instances to pointing the fact that a person who claims to be an affidavit to be at that point in time in Gurgaon is not in Gurgaon, if there are other evidences pointing to that effect, just one is enough, by the way, to throw it out in the minds of the court. But if there are other evidences that can point out maybe passport stamps, etc., whatever it is, or some eyewitness to the account to say that this person was in Mumbai or Delhi or wherever, I think the whole case pretty much, if you were one of the main persons stating to be the beneficiary, then the court is definitely going to look at you now with a very, very big jaundice tie. It's not going to really work well. I'm not saying that it's going to fall fully flat as such, but at the very first instance, if I am the judge, I will feel very scared now to believe, or I wouldn't say the word scared, but I would feel very chary of believing any affidavit given forth by the same person. And I would really look at it with a jaundice tie, saying that, okay, so-and-so has been written, now let me look at the other evidences. And definitely the other side, which is claiming or which is disputing this, her seeing the will, is definitely going to point out several other instances to show and to buttress their own case.
That case has been extremely mysterious because you had, Swapnil, you had the mother of Sanjay Kapoor come out and make claims, sister make claims, Karishma Kapoor also coming in court and making claims. Now, now all of what they said seemed to indicate perhaps that Priya Sachdev was not being straight about what really happened, right? And it all boils down to the wealth, 30,000 crore empire. You're an advocate. Now, I'm not saying that, I don't know, I'm not sticking my neck out and saying these are genuine documents that I have verified it. These are documents circulating, it's being reported, okay? So I'm saying that much. But what happens when the court, when assuming if it is the case that on a signed affidavit, someone has lied about being there, present, what happens in such a case? How does the court look at it?
Well, the first thing is that you could be held liable for perjury. If the court takes a very serious look at it and says that, well, why did you lie in court? The court can issue a notice to you saying that this is contempt of court, and please explain why as to contempt of court proceedings should not be initiated against you. That's number one. And obviously, your lawyer will have to have a whale of a time trying to explain to the court that you are genuine and your claims were genuine. And, well, it so happened by inadvertence or, it just happened. Maybe the typist made a mistake and things like that. You'll have to come out with all sorts of excuses, but, that's not going to go well with the court. Even if the court chooses to ignore that, especially when it comes to the main case, whatever you are stating, and because of the fact that you are the wife in question, and there are several other claimants to that big 30,000 crore chunk or that big, empire of theirs, it's really going to hurt your chances to even getting even a shot at a fraction of that. And if there is, evidence to the contrary saying that this is the correct will, which the other side will show, and if there are proper two witnesses, and if there is a proper signature of Mr. Sanjay Kapoor, and all of those things, then that will stand to have a greater chance. And even if there is no will, then you'll have to proceed by the letters of administration and trying to say that who's the actual claimant. And then in that case, possibly Ms. Priya Sachdev stands a chance to say that she's one of the legitimate heirs. But now that you have stated that there is a will, then you cannot say on one hand that, okay, by the way, this will is okay, I want to ignore this will and let it go by the letters of administration. Letters of administration are generally done in a case where there is no will. And where there is a will, you do it a probate petition. So letters of administration is where there is no will. That means the testator died without making a valid will. And in this case, on one hand, if you say that there was a valid will, then suddenly to take advantage of what is going on against you, and suddenly when you are facing the heat, you cannot say, there was no will, maybe I made a mistake. Now let's go by the fact that there is no will, and let's go by the fact that the testator refused or did not make a will and died intestate, to use the words, which are there in the testamentary law. So you cannot approbate and reprobate. That means you cannot take one stand on one side and suddenly when it becomes inconvenient, you take the other stand. So the other side is going to go hammer and tongs if, this, whatever is being coming on the television is absolutely true, and if there are reports to that effect, the other side is definitely going to go hammer and tongs and try to ensure that the will, which is the correct one, is put before the court if they have already put one, or if they are saying that this will is a fake will, and if they are challenging the will, then, they'll have more evidence to show, I'm sure, that this is a will which is not a genuine one. But I think the best part would have been for any affiant, meaning the person who makes the affidavit, that if you're not there, then don't say that you were there. You don't have to be there to say that the will was made in front of me. And if you're not one of the two witnesses, there can be any other two witnesses to that effect. But if you're saying that you were the two witnesses and that you saw, and then there is evidence to the contrary saying that you were not there, then if you are one of those two people who saw the person making the will and you signed there, then your signature becomes invalid. And if your signature becomes invalid, that entire will falls flat on its face. That means the will is defective. To be a valid will, a will has to be written by a testator or a person making the will in sound mind. And it has to have two witnesses knowing the testator and doing so in the presence and understanding the contents of the will. For the benefit of your viewers, the will does not need to be registered. There is some sort of a myth that will needs to be registered when there is an immovable property. The answer is no. It has to be typewritten. The answer is no. It can be in my handwriting, my own original handwriting. I don't need to type it. And I just need to have two sane, sensible adult witnesses who know what I am doing and who know how to read English. And when they put their sign below the will, that's all they need to do. And if they have to be naturally present, logically. And if they are not, and if they do so after some time, that also sometimes goes in a court of law, because nobody can object the fact that you came later and you signed the will. But on that particular day, if you have made an affidavit to say that, yes, I was there on that day, that's going to really hurt your chances. So it's better that you are actually present when you're making the will. And that is what I would always recommend to my clients, that let's have two witnesses who are there present physically, and there is no controvertible evidence to that effect which disputes the fact that you are not there at all. Because when it comes to such a big sort of an empire, I think you need to be very, very clear and technically perfect in this. And something like this can really, really hurt your chances to succession.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Yeah, it's such a high-stakes battle. In fact, I still remember, I was hoping Rhythm will join us live. Let me see if I can try and get her live. But in court, I don't know whether you saw that clip, Swapnil, Mahesh Jethmalani lost his school at one point. It's such a high-stakes battle. And you have such big names involved, including Karishma Kapoor, actor, etc. Now, my question to you is, can you access such data? I mean, when I saw the CDR, the first question that came to my mind was, can you go back and trace data from 1 year ago? Can you do that? Is it legally possible? And does the court accept such documents?
Well, if it's electronic evidence, it's admissible in a court of law as per the new Evidence Act, and it's a legitimate evidence. And if you can show that X was not present during that period of time, or X was somewhere in London or wherever he or she was, then so be it. I mean, you have to show. I mean, you are one of the claimants. If you are there as the first wife, and if the second wife is taking a claim to the entire empire, saying that only some fraction of the amount is given to the second wife, then obviously the first wife only a fraction of the amount. Then the first wife is definitely going to go hammer and tongs and try to find out all possible evidences pointing to the contrary, saying that you were not there, and these are I'm going to pick holes in that. And I'm possibly even going to go to the extent, and I'm not saying that, the first wife is going to do that, but people in a court of law actually go to the extent of saying that the person who made the will did not make so out of voluntary will. The person was coerced. There was some sort of a duress. And, the person who alleges that, Niranjan, duress and coercion and all that, has to actually prove that. So the burden of proof is on that person. But getting access to CDRs, getting access to cell phone towers, all the calls that you made, who you made to, and any other electronic evidence is absolutely very much valid in a court of law. There is no question about it. Except that, and of course, you have to get a certificate to that saying that, yes, this is a valid, CDR record, and, as per the Information and Technology Act, and nothing has been doctored and anything of those sort. And, if you want to show a photograph saying that, okay, this person is holidaying in London or US, then actually that photograph is not doctored and all of those things. So that is something which you have to buttress with a certificate to that effect. Not to say that the certificate cannot be challenged. All the things can be challenged. But the point is that it does throw a tremendous amount of doubt in the mind of the court. And when it comes to two wives, when it comes to two conflicting claimants, and especially the matriarch of the family coming and saying something to the effect that I was not even consulted as to what the hell was going on and all of those things, that still throws, further muck at the entire case. And it just complicates the case entirely, Niranjan. It's not something that, either party would... really like, but then, if you want 30,000 crores, then I think you'll have to really, really sweat it out and engage the best possible lawyers, and not only that, but pray to God that the judge understands, what you are trying to say, and, believes most of what you say, whoever it is, and has got more documentary evidence to prove the fact, and more reliability factor is the more important key, and even preceding your relationship, everything with the wife, with the children, so as to show to the court of law that actually the husband did intend to give it to the first wife, or did intend to give it to the second wife, or did intend to give it to a charitable trust altogether, did not give anything to any of the wives either, etc. So you'll have to really show the affinity and affection. You can't show and if the other side shows some sort of antipathy or acrimony between the husband and the wife, then it is difficult for that wife to show that, yes, even if there was acrimony, which happens in all couples all the time, but I'm getting it because I'm the beneficiary and I'm the first wife who actually took care of him while he was lying on his deathbed, etc., whatever. So, all those things will come into play. Every single piece of evidence is dissected, split like hairs in a court of law when it comes. And this is 30,000 crores, Niranjan. I would even talk about 2 crores and 5 crores people really going to, because that's what lawyers are paid to do.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see where the story goes. I mean, the entire story, the way in which he died, sting of a bee, to the inheritance battle, and the claims made, and the claims have always been about whether the will was genuine or not. If anything, today it's only raising more questions. Becomes one of the most high-profile inheritance battles of our times. Thank you, Swapnil, for joining us on This Is Exclusive. Taking a short break. Arnab is debating this at 8:30 p.m. Very, very interesting development. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these documents are circulating. Now, it could go any way. But the point is, it raises questions. There are doubts, and we will continue to ask those questions. We'll take a break at this point. Trending coming up next, but the debate with Arnab at 8 p.m. Stay tuned.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant...
For the first time since Galwan clashes, Chinese Communist Party delegation visits Delhi and meets BJP RSS. The political face-off over CPC BJP meet. Debating at 8 p.m.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला। MDH।
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है। यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
प्रीमियम प्लस बाय सेंचुरी प्रोवुड।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
राजा और प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
राजा और प्योर मसाला।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the Western Hemisphere, the so-called...
Big win for India's gig workers. Centre asks 10-minute apps to drop the deadline. No more 10-minute delivery. Debating at 9 p.m.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
From your smartphones to your smart televisions, trending stories are breaking the internet. Tonight's top stories are shaking streets, screens and statecraft. First up, India's obsession with instant delivery hits the brakes as Blinkit has dropped its 10-minute promise, not a rebrand but a rollback under pressure. As gig workers protest and the centre steps in, putting rider safety over recklessness. Next, The pressure mounts on Iran as protests stretch into yet another intense week. What started as frustration over livelihoods has now grown into widespread dissent, with demonstrations spreading across cities despite arrests and restrictions. And amid this unrest, Washington has turned up the heat. The US President Donald Trump announcing fresh trade penalties linked to Iran, a move that could reshape global commerce and pull countries like India into a high-stakes diplomatic squeeze. We have this and a lot more packed in this edition of Trending for you. I am Oyana Mitra with you this evening. Viewers, India's obsession with instant delivery just slammed the brakes. Blinkit has officially dropped its flashy 10-minute delivery promise, and this time it's not a rebrand. It's a rollback under pressure. After gig workers hit the streets and the centre stepped in, the message is loud and clear. Rider safety over reckless speed. No more ticking clocks, no more deliver or suffer timelines. The Labour Ministry, led by Mansukh Mandaviya, held talks with quick commerce giants, nudging platforms to erase the 10-minute claim from apps and advertisements. But this wasn't about faster groceries, it was about survival on the streets. Gig workers say the 10-minute delivery clock turned every order into a race against time, safety and penalties. Their demands were simple: remove impossible deadlines, stop cutting payouts and end fear-driven work. Riders wanted predictable earnings, no arbitrary ID blocks, and an end to shrinking incentives. They also demanded what most workers take for granted, that is insurance, health cover and social security. Above all, they asked for dignity, clear rules and safer working conditions. Blinkit dropping the 10-minute promise marks a moment where voices from the ground finally broke through the app. All right, joining us live is Sheikh Salahuddin, founder, state president, Telangana Gig and Platform Workers Union. All right, Mr. Salahuddin, thank you for joining us on Trending this evening, sir. My direct and first question to you is about what do you have to say about the centre's intervention into this entire matter? And do you believe that just simply the rollback of this 10-minute delivery promise is enough?
No, see, this is the first step to come forward to ministry as interfering in this matter. This is a big achievement. You know, the 10-minute deliveries, you know, the life's very important. That deliveries like Swiggy, Zomato, Amazon, Flipkart and Blinkit, Zepto. This 10-minute delivery, the major demands in the 5 demands we have to asking the 25th December and 31st midnight. Those we have to part of 210,000 delivery workers, the part of the strike. This is the victory of the workers. Listening to the Government of India, Ministry of Labour, and Ministry of Labour has responded quickly after some time, because I don't know, I write the letter from the ministry and now this has outcome from the minister's side. This is a good achievement from the minister also interfering in this matter, because the platform company is not last 5-6 days has interfering in this matter. That's why ministry has come to interfering in this matter. The workers' voice to be raised to the ministries and ministry should be immediately respond at times to Labour Minister, central and central government officials.
Right. Mr. Salahuddin, you know, apps like Blinkit, Zepto, Swiggy, these are apps that you and I, we use every day for our everyday use. How practical do you think is, you know, this policy that has now been rolled out, and what are the demands that you would like to place to the centre to ensure that welfare and all the concerns that quick commerce delivery partners have are kept in mind and implemented in the future?
See, we have to again same that 5 minutes for 5 important very things we have to same government and platform companies. The first of all, we have to asking the wages ensure from the platform companies not less than, okay, whatever per kilometer, per ride, per delivery, from whole gig and platform workers, not only from delivery, they are asking from the drivers, ride hailing and platform, those all platform companies like urban company workers onwards. That should be government again is very important subject to interfering in these wages in issues onwards. And second, the 10-minute delivery, we are asking the 10-minute delivery is interfering government, a very good thing to come forward, minister to involving in this issue. And third thing, the algorithm. Algorithm should be very important nowadays. How to workers should be penalized that, complete the task before the task and incentive and cap from the algorithm. And data transparency and dignity. Okay, this is the very normal we have to demand it from the platform companies. We are asking 25th and 31st December.
Right, all right, Mr. Sheikh Salahuddin, thank you for joining us and giving us your perspective. Viewers, with that, we turn on to the next story, our trending story of the evening. Viewers, Iran's streets are still boiling and now into the third straight week. What began as protests over economic pain has snowballed. Iran's streets are still boiling and now into the third straight week, as we said. And as we speak, there are at least 2,000 protesters who have reportedly been killed in the anti-government protests that have been raging across the city of Tehran. Now, as Iran burns, viewers, Washington tightens the screws. President Donald Trump has unveiled a 25% tariff on any country trading with Iran, a move that is designed to choke Tehran's lifelines. This message is blunt. Do business with Iran, pay the price in America. While the White House has offered few details on enforcement, the signal is unmistakable. Economic pressure is now seemingly a weapon. For countries like India, the stakes are real. Energy, trade and diplomacy now caught in the crossfire. And with military options still on the table, this is pressure with an edge. All right, joining us live is strategic affairs expert Robindra Sachdeva. Mr. Sachdeva, thank you for joining us on Trending this evening, sir. How do you assess the current situation that is unfolding in Iran and Trump's, sort of attempt to mediate in between and threaten military action?
Thank you so much. See, essentially, there's some steps by Trump, but fundamentally, if you look where Iran is today, the entire scenario is due to the sanctions on Iran for the past many, many years. Fundamentally, it started, as we know, as I said, as a situation of economic distress for the people of Iran, very high inflation, devaluing currency, corruption amongst the elite, etc. All of that has happened because there were sanctions by America on Iran for the past so many years. In fact, that is the very intent and objective of the sanctions which America imposes, that the country, the targeted country, its economy suffers, the people come on the streets, dissatisfied, there's a revolution and they overthrow the regime. That is a typical copybook. That's what America looks at with North Korea when you have sanctions, Cuba, etc. Now, coming back to Iran. So the base situation in Iran has definitely been created or precipitated by American sanctions, economic distress. Now, on top of it, what we are seeing is that it seems amongst the people, there is not much hope. The regime which is there, it has taken a huge hit by Israel and the US when they bombed their, nuclear storage or processing facilities. So that has been a hit. That has lowered the morale of the regime maybe, but also more so of the people, because what the regime, the Islamic regime has been telling the people is that we are doing all of this, whatever, we are undergoing economic hardships, and we are doing it because of sanctions from the Satan, which America is a Satan, and Israel, but we are guaranteeing your security. So that security, compact has been broken. So a bunch of things have gone. And plus also within Iran, there are separatist and insurgent movements. You have the Kurdish in the northwest of Iran. In the southeast of Iran, you have the Baluch, which is the Baluchistan, Pakistan, this side of the border, other side of the border, Baluchistan in Iran. That's there. On top of it always you had underground agents, paid agents of Mossad and America. I mean, Israel has been able to take off Iran's nuclear scientists, many more killings targeted, including Ismail Haniyeh. Why? Because there are informants on the ground inside Iran who are either against the regime, Iranians who do not like the regime, who hate the regime, or who have been brought over by money, or who have been blackmailed. Whatsoever be the reason, there are people on the ground who are pro-America or Israel and anti the regime. So as the demonstrations spread, much of it can be genuine, but within those, definitely yes, protagonists, other actors could come in, and it then becomes a dangerous cocktail. So that's where we are today in Iran. And lastly, now Trump has imposed another 25% tariffs on any country that does business with Iran. This will do two things. One, it will further tighten the screws on Iran in terms of its economic situation. Let's say India is threatened now with 25% additional, on top of, by the way, the 50% we are already facing, right? China will be facing the 25% because it does business with Iran. It buys over $30 to $40 billion of Iranian oil every year. UAE, the Arab Emirates, does significant business with Iran, about 10 to $15 billion every year. So if these countries, let's say the UAE as a case study, keep aside India and China, if the Arab Emirates as a case study decides that it does not want to, have to pay 25% tariffs to UAE exports to America, and therefore it stops doing business with Iran, that further sets the spiral down for the Iranian economy. So this 25% tariff tool or move by Trump is another turning of the screw of Iran's economic desperations and crisis, in the hope that more people will further join the streets because of the further tightening of the economic situation. You cannot get bread. It is being said that this is a revolution of bread. By the way, just a contra view. There are also huge demonstrations in support of the Iranian regime. We get images and information feed primarily a lot from the Western media. I was on Russia Today just today evening, and in our discussion, same topic, Iran, and they were showing clips where they said that hundreds of thousands of people have come on the streets of Iran supporting the current regime. So let us remember that there is support for the current regime also. But yes, at the same time, there is huge or growing opposition to the regime also.
Right, absolutely, Mr. Sachdev. I do appreciate you joining us this evening, sir, and giving us your expert perspective on what we expect to see unfold in Iran in the near future. Thank you very much, sir. All right, viewers, straight off the internet and onto your screen, these are the hot trends of the day. All right, the Sisu Panchayat in Himachal Pradesh's Lahore region has announced a complete shutdown of tourist activities starting the 20th of January, citing repeated complaints of nuisance and irresponsible behavior by visitors. Locals said the area is their home and not a playground, pointing to loud noise, poor civic sense and daily disruptions as reasons behind the decision. The move underlines growing concerns around respectful and responsible tourism in fragile hill regions. Former Indian cricketer Shikhar Dhawan has officially announced his engagement to his Irish partner Sophie Shine. The couple shared a heartfelt photograph flaunting their engagement rings and thanked well-wishers for the love and blessings pouring in. Sophie is a product consultant based in Ireland, and Dhawan said they are ready to begin a new chapter together rooted in love. Singer Mika Singh has approached the Supreme Court with an offer to donate 10 acres of his land for the care, shelter and protection of stray dogs. Stressing the need for humane and long-term solutions, Mika Singh urged authorities to focus on proper shelters, medical facilities and responsible animal management as the national debate around stray dog welfare continues. Punjabi singer Karan Aujla has landed in controversy after a US-based artist accused him of cheating. The woman, known as Ms. Gauri Music on Instagram claimed they were in a private relationship and alleged that she was unaware that Ojla was married to Palak. She further alleged that she was silenced and publicly shamed after his team contacted an Indian influencer to spread false information to cover up the issue. Ayush Badoni's inclusion in India's ODI squad for the series against New Zealand has triggered backlash from a section of fans on social media. Badoni received his maiden ODI call-up as a replacement for injured all-rounder Washington Sundar, but critics accused head coach Gautam Gambhir of favouritism. Badoni's coach Sarandeep Singh defended the selection, calling it a long-awaited and deserved opportunity. Actor Sunny Deol is planning to open a museum in memory of his father, legendary actor Dharmendra. According to Hema Malini, speaking in an interview, Hema Malini said that Sunny has been discussing the idea with family members and will take it forward after consultations. Dharmendra, legendary Indian actor, producer and politician, is revered as the He-Man of Bollywood. Over a career spanning more than 60 years and 300 films, he established himself as one of the most versatile stars in Indian cinema history. At the 2026 Golden Globes, several Hollywood celebrities used the red carpet to protest recent fatal shootings involving U.S. immigration and customs enforcement officers and criticized the current U.S. administration. Actor Mark Ruffalo wore a pin in memory of Renee Nicole Goode, who was killed, and spoke out against what he called violations of international law, accusing President Donald Trump of undermining global norms.
Nicole Goode, who was murdered. We have a vice president who's lying about what's happening. We have we're in the middle of a war with Venezuela that we illegally invaded. He's telling the world that international law doesn't matter to him. The only thing that matters to him is his own morality. But the guy is a convicted felon or convicted rapist. He's a pedophile. He's the worst human being in the world. If we're relying on this guy's morality for the most powerful country in the world, then we're all in a lot of trouble. So this is for her, this is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country, and what I'm seeing here happening is not America. This is for Renee Nicole Goode, who was murdered. We have a vice president who's lying.
Cricket legend Sachin Tendulkar and cinema icon Amitabh Bachchan delighted fans with a playful game of hand cricket that quickly went viral. With a shared sense of humour, the brief exchange struck a nostalgic chord across generations, proving that sometimes the simplest moments create the biggest buzz. The Supreme Court of India, viewers, has sharply questioned the practice of feeding stray dogs in public places, asking why dogs should be allowed to roam freely and bite or chase people. The bench warned that for every dog bite and every death, states could be made to pay heavy compensation for failing to make proper arrangements. The court also indicated that dog feeders and organizations may be held liable for attacks that leave lifelong consequences. Supreme Court also underlined that compassion cannot be limited to animals alone, must extend equally to human lives. And ladies and gentlemen, as we wrap up tonight's show, here's a powerful preview of what's coming next. From the heart of Jaipur, a spectacle that will command both the ground and the sky. On the 15th of January, Mahal Road will turn into a theatre of national pride as the Indian Army marks Army Day Parade 2026. Thanks for watching.
78 आर्मी डे परेड का हिस्सा बनना मेरे और मेरे यूनिट के लिए काफ़ी उत्साहित करने वाला एहसास है। इंडियन आर्मी के अपाचे हेलीकॉप्टर इस परेड का हिस्सा पहली बार बन रहे हैं और जब भी हम उस परेड मार्ग के ऊपर से गुजरते हैं, इतनी प्रोत्साहित युवाओं को देखकर हमें काफ़ी हर्षोल्लास की अनुभूति होती है। मैं आशा करता हूं कि आज का युवा इससे प्रेरणा लेगा और हमें ज्वाइन करेगा। जय हिंद।
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, राजा और प्योर मसाला।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है। यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
प्रीमियम प्लस बाय सेंचुरी प्रोवुड।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता, उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा, आर प्योर मसाला।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing this tanker which was carrying oil for Russia. Now, it's interesting why Russia, which itself has so much of energy, needs this oil from Venezuela, and that's where the whole geopolitics comes into play. Because remember, post the capture, abduction, kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, the president of Venezuela, by the United States, the US has been building, President Trump himself leading from the front, a scenario where they want to really grab Greenland from Denmark. And so they really want to show that the security of North Atlantic is compromised and they need to be there, and that's why they need Greenland. So maybe it's because of that, we don't know. But taken together, it's clear that in the case of merchant vessel Marinera and the merchant vessel Sofia, which was caught, a dark fleet caught from near Caribbean Sea, which was taking the oil to China, United States has made it amply clear, taken together all these actions, that when it comes to its neighborhood, the Western Hemisphere, the so-called Monroe or the latest Donroe doctrine, they are the boss, they are the mafioso. Because the first reaction that has come from Russia says that this is absolutely in breach of international marine law. Now, United States does not subscribe to it. There is something called UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. The US is not a signatory to it, and that's why they sort of, wherever their navy operates, they behave as if they are.
For the first time since Galwan clashes, Chinese Communist Party delegation visits Delhi and meets BJP RSS. The political face-off over CPC BJP meet. Debating at 8 p.m.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी प्रोवुड का प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, लो एमिशन है, हाई डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी, टर्माइट एंड बोरो रेजिस्टेंट भी है। यानी ये है जहां नो टेंशन वहां।
प्रीमियम प्लस बाय सेंचुरी प्रोवुड।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी, चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, विद यू ऑलवेज।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
प्लीज स्टॉप। झुमका, तेरा झुमका, तेरा झुमका।
नॉट देयर, मेरा काउंटर टॉप टूट जाएगा।
तेरा झुमका। मेरी चिमनी टूट जाएगी। What are you doing?
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US Navy, and reach this far. In fact, in the case of the merchant vessel Marinera, which is Russia flagged and was caught near Iceland by the US Navy with help from the United Kingdom Navy, the US Navy was on the chase, hot on the chase of this vessel for about 2 weeks, which shows that it was completely tracked, and both the sides were aware, because even in the case of the Russians, a submarine was closely following or shadowing.
For the first time since Galwan clashes, Chinese Communist Party delegation visits Delhi and meets BJP RSS. The political face-off over CPC BJP meet. Debating at 8 p.m. Big win for India's gig workers. Centre asks 10-minute apps to drop the deadline. No more 10-minute delivery. Debating at 9 p.m.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, political face-off as Communist Party leaders from China visit the BJP office. At 8:30 p.m. tonight, an incredible twist in the 30,000 crore rupee battle for the estate of the late Sanjay Kapoor. We have new revelations, CDR records, which raise question marks about the veracity of the claims of Priya Sachdev. This is hotting up. And at 9 o'clock this evening, why I support all the attempts being made by the government to stop this 10-minute delivery. It's a terrible thing, this 10-minute delivery. Just because some people want to make money, why do something that's so deadly? I have now come to the conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, that the Congress party likes to commit political suicide. I have come to the conclusion that these are not accidental mistakes that the Congress party does. It is actually a party that is constantly in political suicide mode. Why else would it raise questions about why some leaders of the Communist Party of China have visited the BJP headquarters? Yes, leaders of the Communist Party of China visited the BJP headquarters, but it was not done secretly. Like the Congress party went and signed an agreement with Xi Jinping, where Rahul Gandhi was told by his mother, go sit there, Rahul, sign an agreement with Xi Jinping, get your signature right. That's Xi Jinping and Sonia Gandhi. That's Anand Sharma of the Congress party. While Rahul Gandhi commits himself to life to serving the Congress interests of the Chinese Communist Party. Ladies and gentlemen, the Congress party says that why has the BJP met leaders of the Chinese Communist Party? And then gone on to say that the China supported Pakistan, China targeted Galwan, China is making claims about Arunachal Pradesh, and here hugs are being exchanged. First of all, I did not see any hugs. Nevertheless, does the Congress party not have the common sense to understand that an official meeting between two parties is not the same as a memorandum of understanding, officially signed and secretly kept in some locker of the Congress party office? There's a fundamental difference between the two. Has the Congress party gone mad to talk like this? Does the Congress party not realize that by questioning why the BJP leaders met the Chinese Communist Party, more people will begin to ask, meeting is okay, but why did you sign an agreement with the Chinese Communist Party? And if there's nothing wrong with the agreement, if there's no hanky-panky, if there's nothing to hide, then why don't you go ahead and declare what is in the agreement? Ladies and gentlemen, on the contrary, it will be fundamentally argued, I would argue, that the government position vis-a-vis China continues to be extremely strong. You can go and meet, you can have an exchange, you can exchange mementos, you can smile at the camera, but you're not signing an agreement which binds you to serve the interests of the Chinese Communist Party. Now, the Congress party can turn around and say, Arnab, how do you know we signed an agreement that we are going to forever serve the interests of the Chinese Communist Party? Well, I would say, answer to that, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. Come out and share that copy of what you signed. Why are you keeping it secret? Every second day I come on air and I challenge you. Every month I raise this question once, and not just me, the people of India ask, what did you sign? Why do you get into a long-term understanding and interest with the Chinese Communist Party when your ostensible reason to visit China, where you were given the sort of, royal treatment by the Chinese, where they treated you as the monarchs of India, where they rolled the red carpet to you, where they treated you as the elected head of the government, which you were not. You went there in a private capacity. Sonia Gandhi was not Prime Minister. Manmohan Singh was kept aside. But you had the entire government machinery answering to Sonia Gandhi, de facto Prime Minister of India. At that point of time, why did the de facto Prime Minister of India, whose name is Sonia Gandhi, Antonia the Minor, her original name, why did Antonia the Minor ask her son to sign an agreement with the Chinese Communist Party? What interests were being served there? What did Sonia Gandhi, Antonia the Minor hope that the country will gain? Or is it that the Congress party was gaining? And is it true that after that, the Chinese embassy put in money, apparently more than 1 crore, into something called the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. Is it true that after that you had another secret meeting with the Chinese government officials in a 5-star hotel over a Chinese lunch while Galwan was on? Now, these questions are a triumvirate of questions, and the questions are now beginning to get even sharper, which is why I said the Congress party is mad to be questioning why the meeting is happening in the BJP office. The more you ask that question, the more people will ask questions over this picture, even if you had forgotten about this picture, even if it was not in your imagination as of this minute and this second, now it would come back into your focus, which is exactly what we will do. If you want to have a fight over photos, let's have one. Let's debate.
China's construction of infrastructure in the Shaksgam Valley, an area illegally ceded by Pakistan in 1963, is a point of fresh tension.
首先，你提到的领土属于中国领土，中方在自己的领土上开展基础设施建设无可非议。中国和巴基斯坦已于上个世纪的60年代签署了边界协定，并且划定了两国的边界，这是中巴作为主权国家的权利。那么你提到中巴经济走廊，这是一个经济合作倡议，旨在促进当地的经济社会发展和改善民生。中巴边界协定和中巴经济走廊不影响中方在克什米尔问题上的立场，中方在这个问题上的立场没有变化。
India has called this a blatant violation of its territorial integrity.
So as the Shaksgam Valley is concerned, India considers 1963 agreement between Pakistan and China as illegal. Therefore, any activity in Shaksgam Valley is concerned, we do not approve of it, and in this terms, MEA has already issued this statement. Therefore, the joint statement which has been issued in China, what I understand about the CPEC 2.0, we do not accept it, and we consider that it is an illegal action which is being carried out by the two nations.
Amid this contestation came this post by BJP MP Arun Singh on X. In pictures is the Communist Party of China delegation that visited the BJP head office. The BJP said that the meeting was to enhance communication and interaction between BJP and CPC as part of an institutionalized mechanism. But the Congress hit back. The same BJP for the longest time has been questioning Congress over the picture that showcases Rahul signing an MOU with China in 2008. Today, the tables have turned and the same party is in the dock.
China has claimed that one of the valley of India is the part of China. So in spite of that, they made this delegation, and not only this, Communist Party of China went to meet leaders of Rashtriya Sevak Sangh also in their office. So what is the anti-national activities? I am sorry to say, I never make such kind of allegations against any political party, but definitely China is an enemy, and bigger enemy than Pakistan.
The political fight is intensifying and the BJP is yet to clarify its stand.
Gentlemen, tonight I have with me Ratnakar Tripathi of the Congress Party, Vivek Srivastava, who is a great supporter of Xi Jinping. I satirically call him Vivek Jinping, is with us also on the program tonight. Pankaj Sharma supports the Congress Party. Ratan Sharda is a well-known right-leaning analyst, and Rajat Sethi is a well-known political commentator, usually right-leaning. Right. Now, Mr. Tripathi, I'll begin with you, and Mr. Sharda. Now that you are saying Congress Party is saying that China is an enemy, why don't you cancel the MOU that you have signed with the enemy country? Forget what BJP is doing. Let's start with you. Charity begins at home. You have a signed MOU. Why don't you cancel that MOU in protest? Because you are now saying it's an enemy country.
Who is to speak?
I took your name. I presume it is you. But if you need some time to prepare for that question,
No, I don't
I can give you some
what
time. Yeah,
preparation.
okay.
You can blow
Okay.
your MOU trumpet again and again, Mr. Goswami. But the thing is that is finally settled on 7th August 2020 by the bench of Supreme Court of India. The BJP MP Ram Mahesh Jethmalani petitioned there about this MOU. And they said that this is absurd. We can only allow you to take it back, withdraw the application, withdraw the petition. And if you want to file a new petition, you may file that. We will examine the facts, and if the facts are wrong, we will prosecute you. That is the thing. And if you have the MOU in your hand or with the research team, please show it to the world. But the thing is that these BJP parties.
No, I don't have the MOU, but how does that matter? You are, no, how does it matter? How does it matter?
Blatant lie.
Louder,
You are saying a blatant lie.
Will Congress disclose the MOU? That is not mandated by the court. That is mandated by the political transparency that you signed an MOU. So you should be sharing with the people what did you sign. What is it that you're doing for Communist Party under the MOU? That is a question. So will you please disclose it? The day you disclose MOU, the question is solved. But you will not disclose for so many years. What is wrong with you? What is so secret about that particular deal that you always take Chinese side, whether it's attack in Ladakh, whether it's any foreign service? So you are always trusting China more than India. Is it part of the MOU? So you must disclose MOU before you start throwing stones at anybody else. That is the issue tonight.
What is the issue tonight? Issue is over. Issue is over. Congress Party saying that why are the BJP leaders meeting leaders of the Chinese Communist Party? Let's look at these two pictures here, Rajat. Let me draw you into the debate. We have two pictures here. 2026, the meeting with the BJP. 2008, the secret MOU. In my view, these are two different contexts. A meeting means nothing. There is no contract signed. There is no agreement. It is a courtesy call.
Exactly.
A signed document has legal validity. Then you are bound.
Show the photo of both the parties sitting, having pen and papers in their hand.
Well, the moot point here is
pen and
you
paper.
have
I have
Chinese.
one minute. Just one. He's saying they have a pen and paper in their hand. But using that pen and paper, have they signed anything?
No, that is the MOU. That is the MOU. Memorandum of understanding. They are understanding each other, writing a final.
So I have a piece of paper in my hand right now. 1 minute. I have a pen in my hand. Am I signing an MOU now?
And Supreme Court said it. There is no MOU between Congress Party and CPC, but I can see.
Congress has never said there is no MOU. Rajat is on the debate. No. Congress has never denied.
It is hilarious. The kind of arguments being made here are absolutely hilarious.
Don't give me that half-minute
argument.
Rajat, no, there was something going on with the Chinese. You had. Rajat.
The absolute preposterous argument being made by the Congress Party spokesperson here. Here you have the official president of Chinese Republic overlooking the signing ceremony or whatever you're trying to call there. And then you have the de facto Prime Minister Sonia Gandhi and Anand Sharma, I believe, who was the sitting minister there. So it was an official meeting, supervised by the government officials at the backdrop. It is subject to all kinds of RTI applications, and I don't believe why should the Congress Party be dragged to the court? If they have nothing to hide, why don't they come out in the public and say that this is what we signed on and let the public decide? Do I have to drag the Congress Party to the Supreme Court before these people come out and are forced to disclose the terms of these MOUs? And by the way, this is not just an MOU.
No, even the sandwich, however, Rajat,
it is written that they accept
the other question would be, I'll get a response from Vivek. Vivek, you want to make a point here tonight? I mean, I know the point you want to make, but if you still want to make that phone call to Beijing, asking that person to call you back with an official line that you need to take on my program, I'll give you the time.
No, the official line is
Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. And after the 1962 war, the Congress managed the country very well as far as the foreign policy with China was concerned. Skirmishes were at their minimal till our Prime Minister in 2014 changed. This is the reality. If the BJP is interacting with the Communist Party of China, I personally welcome it. Let me.
Do you know how many, when you are saying, no, you are making an objective statement here. Why don't you back it with numbers? How many skirmishes happened per year under Congress rule versus the BJP rule?
I welcome
Give us data here
the
before making
BJP.
these.
अरे भैया आप बोलने दो पहले.
आप झूठ बोल रहे हैं सर. आप सच तो बोलो.
Friend, let me speak for 30 seconds. अरे यार तू चुप करो ना यार. झूठ बोल रहे हैं, सच बोल रहे हैं. बच्चे हो अभी, बच्चे की तरह रहो यार. पहले सुनो, पहले 30 सेकंड फिर बोलना.
झूठे ही होते हैं सर.
Stop speaking like a kid. ये स्कूल चाइल्ड वाला वो आर्गुमेंट झूठे होते हैं तो मत बात करो ना. तो बोलो बीजेपी झूठे रहे हो, लेकिन
पब्लिक को तो मूर्ख बनाना बंद करिए.
बोलो ना फिर.
इतना तिल मिला गए. एक सच,
कोई मूर्ख नहीं बना रहा. मूर्ख तुम बना रहे हो.
यहाँ पे बैठ के
प्राइम मिनिस्टर पहुंचे बीजिंग.
कांग्रेस पार्टी,
प्राइम मिनिस्टर पहुंचे बीजिंग.
पार्टी had lower reserves from the China versus the BJP. What is the number? I'm asking you the number. That's it.
भाई आप सुनिए.
Provide the number.
से चपेट खाने के बाद मैं नंबर दे रहा हूं ना आपको.
इतनी हल्की बातें करते हैं. कहां से ऐसे पशुओं को आप बुला लाते हैं?
बट टू हैव, बिल्कुल हल्की बात करूंगा. जवाब आ गए हो तो हम भी उसी भाषा पे आ गए. आप सुनना नहीं चाहते हो. 30 सेकंड में बोल रहा हूं. आई सेड आई एम वेलकमिंग दिस विजिट बाय द कम्युनिस्ट चाइनीज पार्टी टू द बीजेपी गाइस. अगर वहां पे एक एक्सचेंज ऑफ यूथ होगा, एक्सचेंज ऑफ कैडर होगा, टेक्नोलॉजी होगा, बातचीत, आइडियोलॉजी होगा, आई वेलकम दैट ऑल्सो. इफ देयर इज गोइंग टू बी एन MOU, देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग इन इट. चाइना इज योर नेबर. बीट द कांग्रेस, बीट द बीजेपी. आपको अपने रिलेशन अच्छे करने पड़ेंगे. एंड दैट इज अ नेसेसिटी.
It is the same Congress party which celebrates Bolshevik revolution in this country. They still celebrate when Chinese have their, annual meetings of the CPC. They do celebrations. This still happens in this country by the Communist Party. They live, these communists in this country, they live on a parallel planet. And they believe that they are still in power in that parallel planet and they are ruling the country of India.
As a courtesy, we took part in what the CPC was doing. And
so today, forget courtesy.
Trying to make inroads.
Today, sir, you still celebrate the communist.
What's wrong? लेकिन आप राहुल गांधी को एंटी नेशनल मत बोलिए. जो आज बीजेपी कर रही है, कांग्रेस ने भी करना चाहिए और दोनों को करना चाहिए. मैं कह रहा हूं बिल्कुल करिए आप. वो आपका पड़ोसी है, अमेरिका नहीं आपका पड़ोसी.
These, communists in this country are worthy to be kept in a museum. Their intellectual thought process is worthy of a museum only, not television discussions.
You go and teach that to Narendra Modi.
I have
go and teach that to Narendra Modi, who has invited the Chinese
ruled by the Communist parties. You will be shocked, Arnab, that they used to celebrate like Diwali on a Bolshevik revolution day.
You go and talk to the BJP guys and ask them why they are inviting the CPC.
When Nepal,
what ideological exchange is going to take place.
My own view is Rajat. I'll get Pankaj also. My own view is I have no problem with you meeting Communist Party leaders. The Communist Party leaders are not aliens or Martians. They have come from a neighboring country. You can meet them. As long as you do not make a commitment. I don't have any problem with Rahul Gandhi meeting the Chinese. As long as you don't make a commitment. My problem is with the commitment. I don't think that the Congress party can equate a ritualistic meeting with an MOU signing. Now that you have raised questions over the ritualistic meeting,
youth federations to
now that you've raised questions, it's a Abel Mujhe Maar kind of approach, no? Pankaj, you should,
ideology,
people who stay in glass houses should not throw stones at others. The Congress party has signed a secret MOU. Every time now you have gone and said, why are the BJP guys meeting the Communist Party? To exchange mementos, not to sign an MOU.
Congress party never signed any secret MOU. See the contents of the MOU.
No, it is a secret MOU because I don't have it.
Were in the public
Nobody in
domain
the country has been told what's in that MOU.
See, in the MOU there were 4 points. Establishing a mechanism for regular high-level exchanges between the two parties. 2, promoting exchanges at various levels, including youth organizations and delegations. 3, providing an opportunity for the parties to consult each other on important bilateral, regional, and international developments. And 4, facilitating high-level information exchange and cooperation on matters of mutual interest.
1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. First of all, how do you know? 1 minute, Rajat, would you not ask him how he knows what is in the MOU? Because I have not seen
like
it.
Mr. India, he was present invisibly while the signing ceremony was happening. So what is the proof, sir? We are asking a simple question. We had to drag the Congress party into the courts to get the official copy of that. And also, why did the money come into Rajiv Gandhi Foundation account? Actual physical money came into the accounts. How did a financial transaction happen in the garb of this?
Answer that. How did a financial transaction happen after the signing?
What about the money which came to the PM Cares Fund
Sir,
from
let's
Chinese
not. Do
companies?
you have an answer or not?
What
Tell
about
yes
that?
or no. Don't try to blabber around the topic. Why did money come into Rajiv Gandhi Foundation? It's a simple question. Can you answer that question?
Did any money come to Vivekanand Foundation?
You don't have an answer.
Or
No, of course not. Vivekananda International
Did any
Foundation
money
does
come
not
to
take Chinese
Vivekanand
money.
Foundation
It
or
has
not?
never taken any international
Reply
money.
that also.
VIF has not taken any money, sir. Correct your facts here.
How can you
Why
say
did
that?
Rajiv Gandhi? So basically, you
There
don't
are
have an answer.
details available.
You don't have an answer. You don't have an answer. Why don't you accept it on national television? You do not have an answer. Why did Rajiv Gandhi Foundation take money and what services were given on behalf of taking that financial support from the Chinese Communist Party? What was given in return? It's a simple question.
Pankaj,
It will continue to haunt you
let
because
me
you
tell
don't have
you.
an answer.
Pankaj, let me tell you. People like Ajit Doval, people like S. Gurumurthy, right? These are the gems of the country. Never forget that. They have changed the direction of thinking on national security in our country. And we are proud of them. Republic is proud of people like Ajit Doval, people like S. Gurumurthy. And we are blessed as a nation to have them. Now I go back to the main issue. Ratnakar Tripathi. 4 points are mentioned here as the parts. Ratnakar Tripathi and Ratan Sharda, please. First, regular high-level meetings. Why do you have to make a commitment? Second, exchanges. Exchanges of what? Flower pots? Exchanges of what? Third, consultation on issues. Why? Communist Party of China is not a party, it is the government. Why is the Congress Party bypassing the government of India to have a private relationship with a government of China? Why is Sonia Gandhi bypassing elected democracy in this country? No. Ratnakar Tripathi, if what Pankaj has said is true, then it is blasphemous what the Congress has done.
Let me speak
I'm saying
now.
if what he has said is true.
Uninterrupted. Ask this to Pankaj Sharma. To my knowledge, on 7th August 2020, the division bench led by Justice Boble not only snubbed and reprimanded Mahesh Jethmalani, the MP and senior advocate of Supreme Court, saying that this is absurd what you are saying. So please file the petition again and
you are repeating
we
yourself.
will just respect it and we will
Ratnakar ji,
prosecute you.
you are repeating yourself.
रतन चादा जी बीच में मत बोलिए.
नहीं रिपीट मत करिए ना, तो नहीं बोलूंगा. आप नई बात बताइए कुछ.
प्लीज बीच में मत बोलिए.
आप नई बात बताइए ना, तो नहीं बोलूंगा.
If you want to know about what Pankaj Sharma said, ask Pankaj Sharma. मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट का वर्डिक्ट जानता हूं, जिस पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने महेश जेठमलानी से सीधे कहा कोई एमओयू नहीं है और ये एब्सर्ड है जो आप बोल रहे हैं. आपको अगर पिटीशन वापस लेनी है लीजिए, नहीं हम आपको दंडित करेंगे. And they withdrew the petition.
Ask you, Ratan Sharda, my question to you also is, no, Ratan Sharda, having said that, I have a question for you and for Rajat also. Fact of the matter is, Ratan Sharda, that things are not good with China either. We have to stop. We have to be careful. No, I'm just asking a point to the question is to Ratan Sharda. I have a right to ask a question to Ratan Sharda.
Why don't you let me complete, sir?
Yes, please.
Because I have a relevant question to Ratan Sharda. Time is running out.
Please ask the question.
Let me give the data first.
Let me ask the question. Ratnakar Tripathi, you have a problem if I ask a question to Ratan Sharda?
No. Let me complete first. No? I have a problem when you just...
No, I have limited time. No, I have a time issue. Just 1 minute. Ratnakar Tripathi, you got more time than Ratan Sharda. My question to you is this. See, we have to stop, we have to be careful of not going from the frying pan to the fire. From a twisted relationship with America to a potentially exploitative relationship with China. China is not our friend. There has been a flare-up of Shaksgam. The Chinese are blocking our NSG bid. The Chinese are blocking our Security Council bid. The Chinese are catching Indian nationals from Arunachal Pradesh and troubling them. So there are ongoing issues with China.
Arnab, yes.
What
Arnab,
is this the right time? Ratan Sharda, my question being, sir,
Yes.
that it was the BJP that always questioned the Congress on the CCP MOU, rightly so. I have also done that. Why do you need to do these meetings with the Chinese now?
Are the meetings between parties, between the people at different level never happened with China since 1950 when the Tibet was gifted to China? Did it stop Congress from having relations as official, diplomatic level? Did it stop the Congress from talking to other people? Has it stopped the international trade which boomed after 1990s? So these unofficial meetings, which are generally between think tanks of various countries, is not something that will disturb the balance. Are they passing any policy decision? No. They are trying to understand each other. They are trying to.
They have been harassing Indians from Arunachal Pradesh.
Happened earlier on. They have not signed any agreement.
When Sam Pitroda said,
are you believing that by talking we'll give away something to China? Not at all.
But your tough position on China
bluntly to them, tell
has
them what
been
is
one
wrong
of
with
your
it. I have told
crucibles.
Chinese attaches when they met me, I said, you have to make deal with Modi. This is the best time for you. I said it many years back. So it is not that you cannot talk. Point is, are you giving away something? We are not. Is BJP government not able to take back what China has claimed? No. Has China made such claim for the first time? No. Did India sign Panchsheel agreement and then saw the biggest humiliation? No. Did India set up a diplomatic mission with China? Yes. So there are international relations which were very monopolistic kind of unipolar kind of agreements. Now India has opened this kind of ties with every country, and that is the reason China has to come. That is the reason when India built up border strength, they had to listen to it. For 4 years they stared down. Finally they have to stare back, and they have to go back from where they were stopping India from entering. Did Congress ever succeed in this?
Pankaj, what Ratan Sharda is saying is that we've given away nothing.
No, I am saying that, and not only to regain its ground, like Congress, we didn't say don't make roads on the border because China may use it. We were not afraid of China. These people are so afraid of China, they did not allow building of the border security border posts. They put the forces down into attack in 1962 without any facilities.
Pankaj, have you have you left the debate? You seem to have nothing further to say.
And why should
you're losing the debate, Pankaj? I'll give you 2 minutes at the end, Vivek. Vivek, 2 versus 3, the 2 are ahead of you. There's not even a comeback from you to Rajat and Ratan today.
Who doesn't know that during Operation Sindu, China fully supported Pakistan? Chinese weapons were used against India. Not even 8 months have passed, and BJP RSS are now embracing Pakistan's close buddy China. What China did to our soldiers in Galwan 5 years ago is also a tragic chapter. China is occupying hundreds of miles of Indian land
despite a massive win. The biggest humiliation you could do in 1971, you released 93,000 prisoners of war. You gave back everything that you won, and not only that, you even gave back prisoners of war. 54 prisoners of war who are languishing or dying in Pakistani jails. What was the purpose of 1971 negotiations? You can't negotiate well. You allowed 54 prisoners of war to decay in Pakistani prisons. Some may have died, some may be languishing. Why did you do that? You released 93,000 prisoners of war. You gave back every territory, and then you go back and you don't allow our prisoners of war to be back to India.
That comes under war crimes.
What kind of diplomacy was that?
That comes under war crimes. You have to release them. This way or that way, you have to release them.
So
you can't have
93,000
soldiers.
Did they release Indian prisoners of war?
Okay.
Mr. Jinping, did they release Indian prisoners of war?
That is the first part.
In 1971?
Second part is
54 prisoners of war languished in Pakistan jails. I don't know till what time or when they're still there. And we could ask for them after such a big victory.
You
we
belong
are
to an
total failure.
unregistered
Congress government is total
organization.
failure on
You
diplomatic
belong to an
front,
unregistered
where they gave away
organization.
whatever won the in the
पास पैसा
boss.
कहाँ से आ रहा है?
General
Whereas
Secretary
65
Arun
given
Singh
every time.
no said
Where
in
is
his
the money coming
statement
from?
When you're winning
that we
Kashmir,
Is there an
discussed in
accountability?
length
Stop 90.
to find
Is
the
there
ways to
accountability
extend
for the
the
RSS
usual
office?
exchange of information
And you are accusing
between the
Pakistan,
BJP
despite
and
such a huge
CPC.
win, you didn't ask for Kashmir solution to be solved in 1971. What did you
Too
gain?
many guys speaking.
What did you gain? What is your diplomatic skills?
Sir, मेरी बात सुनिए.
So
आपने
when you
राजीव
question
गांधी,
BJP diplomatic skills,
Rajiv Gandhi
look at
Foundation.
what the
You talked
record
of
is.
Rajiv Gandhi
भाई आप बीच में क्या बोले?
You said the Chinese gave money in the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation.
62 में
I
आपने
want to
चाइना को
ask you,
सपोर्ट
sir,
किया.
सुनिए.
62 में आपने चाइना को सपोर्ट
तो
किया.
आपको कॉन्ग्रेचुलेट कर रहे हैं कि आपने चाइना को गले लगा लिया. प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो आए वहां पे. अब एक MOU भी आज साइन हो गया. अच्छी बात है, मैं तो वेलकम कर रहा हूं.
चाइना के लिए सपोर्ट किया.
मैं तो वेलकम कर रहा हूं सर. मैं तो वेलकम कर रहा हूं. आप छुपाइए मत लेकिन इस बात को. आप छुपाइए मत. आप ये बताइए, आपने आरएसएस ने जो अनरजिस्टर्ड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन
किया,
आपने जो
आपने
ऑफिस
62
झंडे
में
वाला
चाइना को
रखा
सपोर्ट
है,
किया.
उसका
आज
पैसा
आगे हमको
कहां से
ज्ञान दे रहे हैं
आप वो
क्या
बताइए.
ज्ञान दे रहे हैं
आप राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन मत बताइए. आप पहले बताइए आरएसएस के पास पैसा कहां से आया. वो महल खड़ा किया है झंडे वाला पे. आप तो
चेक करिए. कांग्रेस पार्टी सालों साल चेक करिए. ऑडिटेड अकाउंट है
और रजिस्टर्ड है. आप बता दीजिए.
इनकम टैक्स में जाइए, ईडी में जाइए,
आप डिक्लेयर कर दीजिए.
मिलेगा.
आप बोलिए रजिस्टर्ड है. आप बोलिए रजिस्टर्ड है.
अगर आप बोलिए रजिस्टर्ड है, जाके सारे अकाउंट निकलवा लीजिए. इनकम टैक्स में जमा है.
कौन है
ट्रस्ट बना हुआ है.
कौन है ट्रस्टी? जरा बोल दीजिए सर.
आप चाइना के साथ क्या कंपेयर कर रहे हैं? क्या
तो वैसे यहाँ भी
आरएसएस ने चाइना से पैसे लिए, यूएसए से पैसे लिए. अरे लोगों ने दिए, हम जैसे लोगों ने दिए. हम भिखारी नहीं, हम अपनी जेब से पैसे देते हैं अपने लोगों के लिए. हम अपनी जेब से पैसे डालते हैं अपने संगठन के लिए. आपके जैसे कहीं से बाहर से मांगते नहीं है.
वो जेब से पैसा
कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी के मैगजीन से पैसे बने. रशिया के साथ, चाइना के साथ हम अपने खून से सीखते अपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को.
पैसे नहीं बना रहा है.
We don't go back people, we don't smuggle money.
अभी बीजेपी is not the government. बीजेपी is a party.
We are talking
BJP is a
about
party, CPC is a party.
Communist Party,
है ना? और ये दो
China,
पार्टियों का
Congress, BJP. We are not talking
Okay,
RSS.
now, ladies and gentlemen, I am closing this by saying that, let's see, we have to talk to the Chinese, no problem. We have to deal with the Chinese, no problem. We have to balance everyone. But even the BJP should be careful that it doesn't go from the frying pan to the fire. We cannot trust the Chinese. Doing business is okay, but we cannot trust them. As long as the BJP understands that, I have no problems. Now, viewers, I'd like to go to another subject, which is the subject of my second debate today. Suddenly, one of the biggest inheritance battles, most high profile, glamorous, as some people say, being fought in India, has seen a huge twist tonight. There are now some documents circulating on social media which allegedly put the entire claim of Priya Sachdev, wife of Sanjay Kapoor, under a cloud. Now, this battle has been on since the untimely death of Sanjay Kapoor. The whole battle has revolved around the will that decides who gets how much part of his 30,000 crore, apparently, empire. These documents now circulating and big claims being made are that Priya Sachdev was not present when even the will was signed. I'd like to say that we can't vouch for the authenticity of these documents. But the documents which are being reported suggest that she was in Delhi. She was not there where the will was signed. I don't know what the truth in this is, but the implications are big if this were to be true. Let's take a look at the latest twist in the story and then we'll debate.
A high-stakes 30,000 crore inheritance battle and a shocking new twist. On your screens, the will that was signed on 21st of March 2025 at the Oris Investment Private Limited office in Gurugram. Priya Sachdev claims she was present as an eyewitness when the will that leaves late industrialist Sanjay Kapoor's entire personal estate to her was signed. But there's the unexpected turn. Documents circulated online indicate that on 21st of March, Priya Sachdev was allegedly in Delhi and not Gurugram. For the whole day, there was no record of her mobile tower pinging at the location where she was supposed to be the eyewitness. A will already under scrutiny. The fresh evidence now directly challenges Priya Sachdev's sworn statement in the court. Claim versus claim. A family at the center of a wealth controversy. Did Priya Sachdev lie in court?
Now, first of all, I can't take responsibility for the authenticity of these alleged call detail records which are out there in the public domain, and neither can anyone. But this is a big fight. Eventually, call detail records can only be supported or confirmed by the government or the authorities. But what do these call detail records apparently show? The claims are being made on social media that they contradict the sworn affidavit of Priya Sachdev filed before the Delhi High Court. I don't know the truth in this. However, I'd like to get opinion from two sides. I have those who are for Karishma Kapoor in this case, or for people who are against Priya Sachdeva, and there are people who are for Priya Sachdeva. Against Priya Sachdeva, I'm told, Prem Rajani, he is a legal expert on corporate law and inheritance disputes. He's founding partner of Rajani Associates. We also have Ashok Paranjape, very senior advocate and lawyer, managing partner at MDP Associates. We have the executive editor legal of Republic Media Network, Ridhamanand Bhardwaj. And we'll be joined by very, very senior family law lawyer, senior advocate Mrinalini Deshmukh, who will join us in a bit. Okay. Rhythm, first of all, what do we have here? Can you unmute yourself, Rhythm? Hello? I can't hear you. I've just been told the problem in our audio. We're trying to fix it. Okay, no problem. Mr. Paranjape, what can I start with you? What do you think? What do you make of this?
Yes, so I think I would like to begin with the fact that the hearing has been completed by the High Court judge, the learned judge, and the case has been reserved for orders. So essentially what happens in such cases is that no further evidence, if it is, comes to the hands of the plaintiff, can be led. But of course, in this case, she can make an application to the High Court and say that this is the evidence which is very germane to the case. And that is why it should be admitted in evidence, or rather whatever evidence she has in this respect, that she can produce before the court. But what I believe from the court records or orders which I have seen is that the court has said that now no further pleadings can be filed. But of course, the judge has the complete discretion in this case. And let us, I think, be mindful of the fact that this matter is really sub judice, which means, basically, no adverse, comments or etc. can be really made. So I think we should be mindful of that fact also.
Ongoing public debate on this. Mrinalini, what are your thoughts on this? Where do you think this case is headed? And what do you make of these documents now being circulated about where Priya Sachdev allegedly was when the will was signed?
See, I'm talking from a legal point of view. A will can be signed by anybody at any point of time. And it could be notarized also if at all there is a thing or registration can be done at any point of time. That is what we are talking about, the will. Now, wherever the will is made by the person who is a deceased, correct? So the will is presented by the person who is the executor or who probably could be a beneficiary to get those things done. So where was Priya Sachdev? Does it really matter? What the courts have to test, in my understanding, and I'm subject to correction by my learned panelists there if there is other factual error, is that the court has to consider whether the will is a valid will, whether there has been any fraud or any kind of coercion or anything on this. And thirdly, and more importantly, does the will look very lopsided? or it looks very balanced. But that again cannot be the criteria or the discretion of the court for a very simple reason that the courts only have to go by what is written in the will. And today, as you know, with the amendment that has taken place, the probating of the will also now has been done away in cities like Chennai and Kolkata and in Mumbai also, which otherwise we needed to do in cases of immovable property. So even that has been done away. So I think the role of the court here, whatever may be the drama around the whole thing, is only to see whether it's a valid will or it is not a valid will, and that will have to be tested on the touchstone of the evidence and the witnesses and the examinations which are there. Now, these documents which have come up can only give a little bit of color and things like that. The real meat of the matter is what is in the will and how the courts are going to interpret it.
But if it is said allegedly that she says she was in X, but she was actually as per CDRs in Y, then what happens in a case like that?
The will is made by the deceased. The will is made by the deceased, and wherever his wife, his child, his daughter, or whoever may be, has nothing to do with it. Most of the people make their will in absolute secrecy. They may say, okay, I'm going to a particular place, and they may go to some other place and make their will. Whatever may be the case.
Okay, one minute. There's another angle in this. Where is this whole issue, rhythm of who is where? How is it relevant? To the point which Meenakshi raises now, that the will is made by the deceased. Where does Priya come in?
Exactly.
Mrinalini, very good evening. I think all of you making decent points about where a will should be. But today, the twist that Arnab is talking about and what we are debating is a little different. The will has been argued. The case is already now in the Delhi High Court. But what we are looking at on social media is new call data records that are suggesting that she has possibly given the wrong facts in the Delhi High Court on the sworn affidavit. As defendant number one in the case, she's written on a sworn affidavit, and that's the graphics that we were playing out, that as defendant number one, she was present. On the left side, we are showing that she says that on 21st of March 2025, this will was signed. It's a paragraph from that affidavit. 21st of March 2025, when the deceased Sanjay Kapoor signed the will, she says she was present. Now the call data records on the right side of the screen show, in fact, that on the 21st of March, she was not present in fact, Gurgaon. The entire day she had been in Rajokri, apparently where she stays. So this raises a different question, not only about the authenticity of the will, which allegedly is forged, is what has been stated by the lawyers of the other side, which is, of course, for the Delhi High Court to decide, Arnab rightly pointed out. But the larger question here, has she lied on oath? Because then this becomes a case.
But it's a question. I mean, how is the point being made here? Rhythm. It's a question. In social media, you can say a lot of things, but
how does that perjury completely vitiate the will? I'm talking as completely as a lawyer. How does one statement completely vitiate it? Of where she was?
But because I don't know whether it does.
The point is, Mrinalini. See, if now, if a person has given the wrong facts on an affidavit,
Absolutely.
right? And she says, I'm just saying, if she has said that I was present when the will was signed, she need not have said that. It is not germane to her claim. I agree with you. It is not necessary for the beneficiary of a will. A person can sign a will in Delhi and the beneficiary may be in Antarctica. It makes no difference. However, the argument being made is that has she said that she was there when the will was signed? Now that she has said that I was there when the will was signed, is that not giving a wrong information on an affidavit? And if it is therefore wrong information on an affidavit, Prem Rajani, does that have an implication on the case itself?
Hi. So I think on this point, I'll slightly digress to this point that what statement was made to this element right or wrong. Just I'll answer that a little later also. The subject is, because I like Ashok transparently mentions a sub judice matter, so we should not speak more on the exact argument the senior counsels in the court But just coming back to your point, I'll just take a minute digression. When we have clients of such high profile clients, naturally the process where they make a will, they make a trust, they have appointed law firms, accounting firms, or trust fiduciary companies. There's a long drawn process. The quality of witnesses all matters a lot. Whether it was given to X or to Y, that's something for the testator or the deceased person to decide how he wants to distribute the property. But in this particular transition, I see none of them happening of that nature. There's not a, I'm not sure whether any law firm was really involved in preparing this particular will, whether it was registered with the sub-register, which is a common practice when the stakes are very high. And we have quality witness. You just don't pick any two random witness. Nothing by law. You can pick anyone for witnesses. But Ashok will also agree that we always pick up a law firm, accounting firm, somebody more responsible to give an affidavit of the validity and the presence of the
one lawyer is what we normally do.
That's the normal practice,
And
and so they were not really discussing on this matter. Back on the matter when Ranit mentioned that one of the aspects of the particular affidavit being incorrect, perhaps I agree with her that it can be overlooked for the larger picture, but this is just one of the very smaller factor point of the location being present in Delhi or Gurgaon. But I see far more than just one statement in the particular affidavit, which should be looked upon or discounted. But I think one has to look at a larger picture of how one would make a will of this particular stake involved. I'll take a break. Somebody else may want to add something.
No, I would just would like to add.
Everything? Yes. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
In this aspect, is that the will need not be registered. I mean, it's not mandatory in law that the will has to be registered. All that is required is there should be two witnesses who would have seen the testator, that is the making of the will, and that the testator has signed in front of them. So that is what is.
But again, I ask you this. Sir. I am confused about one thing, sir. If I may come in for a moment, I'm confused about one thing.
Yes.
Why is she saying that the will was signed in her name? Legally speaking,
absolutely.
Why is she saying she was present?
Correct. Yeah. So that
why has she made that part of her affidavit? Why has she mentioned that at all?
Yeah.
Has she been misled? Has Priya Sachdev been misled by someone into making that claim in an affidavit that I was present? How is that material to her claim? Why has she done that? That I was present. You are the beneficiary. Whether you are present, not present is irrelevant. The witnesses have to be present. If it is proved that the witnesses are not, why does she have to say I was present?
Now that is something which we cannot really answer. I mean, her lawyers need to.
Tell you what, in the what do I say, the excitement or things of bringing out the so-called authenticity, sometimes I have seen in my profession that people do go overboard and overemphasize and over sort of state certain things which are not necessary to be stated. That is where a person like a lawyer, like the caliber of the lawyer that we have here on this panel right now, are the ones to guide.
Meenakshi, leave the documents circulating in social media aside. Let us, Mrinalini, let me disregard that. What is in social media? Let me disregard the call detail records. Let me say that is all a lie. Let me say that is rubbish. That is in social media. It holds no legal claim. Let me take that position. That I don't know where she was, which tower, which location. I don't know whether the documents are fake or not. It's circulating. Fine. Forget all of that. Okay. I am only on another point tonight. I forget all this. The CDR controversy, telling a completely different story. Let us assume this is all malicious. We are discussing is because it's become an issue. It's trending. It's on social media. Obviously, a high profile case. It will gather attention. My question is, she has said in her will that the signature of the late Mr. Sanjay Kapoor along with the signatures of the witnesses are duly affixed on the will. Defendant number 1 was also present.
Yeah.
She has said defendant, which means she was an eyewitness to the signing of the will in her interest in the presence of, okay, he loves his wife. He's getting the will signed by eyewitnesses telling his wife that I am giving you everything. This is the claim. Now, first of all, why is she saying that? that, my lord, I was there when the will was signed in which I am a beneficiary. I'm sorry, that is not, I mean, I don't know, has somebody misled her, Mrinalini? Who does this?
But to show the authenticity that I am vouching
the authenticity when you're the defendant. I'm sorry. Mrinalini, to show the... No, 1 minute. Forget this. Forget the CDR. You are showing the authenticity of the will by saying I, who is benefiting from the will, was there when the document was signed in my interest by my late husband. Now, you have said this, you've added that line. Now you've opened yourself up to questioning. Where were you actually? Were you at a party? Were you what does your call detail record show? Where were you? This issue would not have been an issue had she not made the claim that I was there when it was signed. Has this been a legal mistake by her?
But Ashok would agree that some of them, they overstate the things which are not required. And that is what...
Did she overstate that? No, point being, Mrinalini, you see, it's an Abel Mujhe Maar situation. You have gone and overstated that I, defendant number 1, categorically say I was present when the will was signed by my late husband, putting it in my name in front of these so-and-so lawyers. Why are you saying that? Has somebody misled her,
only the lawyers can answer that. It will, I mean, for us to state something on this topic. And Arnav, there is...
Stating anything, I'm just saying that now that this issue has come up, it's just a commonsensical question.
No, just one major point. The CDR records actually are not accessible to, third parties or members of the public. Now, it will be a point of, how will be the plaintiff able to prove as to how the CDR records were obtained by whoever has obtained them and put on the the social platforms. So it will be
social media. A lot of things circulate on social media. It gets picked up. Maybe it has no relevance.
But that authenticity will have to be proved ultimately.
Authenticity cannot be proven.
So if we assume that the plaintiff would file an application for admission of the CDR records as part of evidence, then they will have to actually prove that it is authentic or get an order directing the authorities, the telecom TRAI authorities, to produce those records. That is my submission. Take on this.
We do not know how they have come because this is still not tested. And Ashok, as you rightly said, that this is still matters are sub judice. It's for the courts to decide. So it may not be appropriate for all of us on this as the lawyers to really, sort of get into it to any kind of a situation. But I think what Arnav is trying to say is that what could be the motive? That is a very general question. That what could be a motive is what he's trying to ask us by stating this or overstating some of the things. I think
the point I'm making, Mrinalini, is if you look at it, I am not a lawyer, I don't know, but it appears to me, you people are the big lawyers here. It appears to me that Priya Sachdev has overstated her case to start with.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Has someone misled her to doing that?
Yes, misled her. Yes.
Perhaps
lawyer, somebody's putting this up for her.
Overstating is not advised by lawyers. Lawyers always say that it is better to be very factual and not overstate. Better to understate and then make an amendment if required.
Overstate, if you overstate, then you are subject to questioning.
Yes.
Somebody is going to find holes in your argument.
Yes, of course.
I don't know. I think so.
But there is one more thing that the court is also going to be looking at. Like the lawyers also said, Arnab, there has to be an application in the court for the call data records to be made public. It's possible, even if not public, it has to be placed before them so that the courts can, in their wisdom, decide what needs to be done. Because the larger question now, Mrinali and Ashok, will become, was the document at all executed? If possibly there is an allegation now that the eyewitnesses could be lying. That's the bigger question that this could lead to, which the courts have to, in their wisdom now, examine.
Yeah, I guess Prem, last word to you, Prem.
In fact, in my view, one statement may require them to look at all the statements with a microscope.
I tell you one thing. My feeling is that it's a bit of a catch-22, Mrinalini's lawyers put this in that she was present. Yeah. Now they'd be regretting, why did we say she was physically present? It would have made no difference whether she was in Honolulu or present there. Right, Mrinalini?
Innocuous statement.
If Mrinalini had been the lawyer, she would not have allowed it, I think. Okay.
It always asks, it's better to understate than overstate.
Well, don't overstate, you have nothing to defend. Understate is the lesson lawyers are taught. Somebody's made a mistake here. I thank you very much. This is quite interesting, is all I'll say. I'll just be understated in saying that rather than overstate myself in that this is all very interesting. Now at 9 p.m. tonight, I'll tell you why I support the government when it says that this 10-minute delivery should stop. This 10-minute delivery, I don't know who does it, Blinkit, Swiggy, Zepto. Why are people in such a hurry? Who makes money by forcing gig workers to deliver that parcel to you in 10 minutes? Is it practical? Does it threaten the lives of people? Or is it completely exploitative? I think it is completely exploitative and totally unnecessary. Details when I'm back.
Quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
13,000 placements last year. At Amity, we are committed to nurturing passionate, hardworking and proactive professionals.
थोड़े में ज़्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा। सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
मुस्कुराए लड़खड़ाए जिंदगी चाहे जो भी हो।
सर, पेशेंट के लिए कौन सा रूम प्रेफर करेंगे आप?
जिंदगी भर के प्यार का कोई रेट कार्ड नहीं होता। टाटा AIG हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस, विद यू लाइक फैमिली, with you always.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
The icy cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean are getting hot, and how? The United States, in an overnight operation, has seized 2 oil tankers, one in the North Atlantic near Iceland, the other one near the Caribbean Sea. The one caught or seized near Iceland is Russia flagged, and the one that's caught near the Caribbean Sea was apparently a shadow tanker, a dark tanker carrying Venezuelan oil to China. Now, both the tankers were carrying Venezuelan oil, which is sanctioned by the United States. There is an embargo. It's interesting and a little curious how the 2 tankers could leave such heavily guarded waters, which are guarded both by the US Coast Guard and the US.
Sir, can we ask you a couple of questions on your relationship and the agricultural land that you had bought along with Priyanka Vadra and Robert Vadra? We've been trying to get in touch with you and ask you several questions on the land deals that you had along with Priyanka Vadra and Robert Vadra. Why are you trying to avoid the camera, sir? CC Thampi, we've asked you several questions and wanted to ask you about your land dealings.
Big win for India's gig workers. Centre asks 10-minute apps to drop the deadline. no more 10-minute delivery. Debating at 9 p.m.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the nation's sharpest opinion. I don't know who these companies are, which gives them the right to do whatever the hell they want. Ladies and gentlemen, to have this 10-minute delivery made into a corporate profit-making structure is unforgivable. They're all competing with each other, I'm told. Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit, I don't care less. I couldn't care less. But if these companies are trying to say that we'll deliver at your doorstep in 10 minutes today, there's nothing to stop these people from saying we'll deliver in 5 minutes today or we'll deliver in 1 minute today. For these people, it is a race to the bottom as far as ethics of this whole 10-minute delivery, 5-minute delivery, 15-minute delivery are concerned. These companies pay very little to the gig workers. They know, more importantly, whichever these companies are, we must all investigate this, which companies are. I'm told Blinkit is one of them. What is this Blinkit? Zepto. And we call all these people who run these companies Zomato. We call people who run these companies to be tech whiz kids. They're not tech whiz kids. What is being a tech whiz kid? In create a situation where you deliver food. Piyush Goyal is absolutely right. These people claim they are unicorns and all that, but what is the great commitment these people have to this country? These people, I mean these companies, who make a lot of money and then who give minimal wages to gig workers and then tell these people that you deliver it in 10 minutes. Can you imagine? I asked people here today, people like this fellow, what's his name? Deepinder Goyal. Apparently, he runs a company with a market capitalization of 2.67 lakh crore. I don't know whether that is true. I'm told he has 55% market share. I don't know. These are all claims that are made by these companies. And he says, don't worry, I'm not overworking the gig workers. My question to Deepinder Goyal is, does he also do this 10-minute delivery? Now they say, no, there is no 10-minute timer or countdown on the delivery app. And then claims that we are doing 10-minute delivery because our stores are closer to our customers. I'm asking you, Deepinder Goyal, you go around with something attached to your head these days, I'm told. Some strange thing that you're testing on yourself. You have time to do all that. And why do you have the time to do all that? Because there are people, these gig workers who do these deliveries. You are saying that I am only driving 16 kilometers an hour. I don't care less. The fact of the matter is, Deepinder Goyal and all you Blinkit, Zepto, Swiggy and Zomato types, why are you talking about 10-minute delivery? It's a race to the bottom. Somebody will say 9.5-minute delivery. Somebody will say 9-minute delivery. You are doing the brand messaging. You're creating a situation where we are being selfish in our attitude. You're being selfish. You're making money with huge valuations and then going around doing whatever you want and preaching and saying you want to give back to society. You don't want to give back to society. You want to give back to society, then stop this 10-minute delivery, time-bound delivery. Why did you use it in your branding? My question to Blinkit and Zepto is, why did you use it in your branding? Did you ever think about the person who's under pressure to deliver in 10 minutes? Did you think of the person who can get into an accident on that two-wheeler? Did you think of the families of these people? Did you think of other people who can get into accidents because of these gig workers? You see, viewers, these companies are becoming totally exploitative. They want to give cool clothes, good branding, like this stuff, 10-minute delivery, kind of jumper dresses, and then they want to appear cool, and then they say that, we are one among the people. Then one of these days, every one of these days, these billionaire owners of these companies will say, I'm a gig worker for a day. You're not a gig worker for the day. Stop acting. Stop acting. You're as much a gig worker as Shah Rukh Khan is a commando. It's ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. It is so wrong. This gig economy is not facilitating the livelihood of gig workers. It is exploiting them. Startups which are delivering food are not a great contribution to the country's innovation or thinking. We can very well do without them. But if you want to create a situation where you say, I'll get you grocery within 10 minutes, I would like to ask you, how much are you paying that person who is risking his life to give grocery in 10 minutes? Are you giving them a share of your income? If you're asking them to have employment without rights, if you're telling them that this is my branding and in this country I can exploit people to the extent I need, as long as the person on the other side does not complain and has signed up for the service, then my question is clearly, ladies and gentlemen, how much money does a delivery worker get? Is it 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000? Some people are saying that it's around 22,000, 25,000. For 25,000 rupees a month, you ask people to risk their life? Absolutely unacceptable, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely unacceptable. I'm glad this issue has been raised. I'm happy that Raghav Chadda has raised this issue. I'm happy that the government has picked up on this issue. But I would like to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that if you want to have a real argument, then we must call people like Deepinder Goyal, the founder of Zomato, into our studio. I'm going to send a letter to him because he's being such a spokesperson for these people. And it's not cool, Deepinder, to do what you're doing and then say, no, it's fine. Your assumption that what you think is fine so that you can continue to increase your valuation is not the right way of looking at it. No more 10 minutes, we say. And I request all of you, the viewers, to also rise up against these companies and please tell your family members, please tell others that let's stop exploiting these people. You don't create a situation. And even if you say, no, it's fine, somebody wants to be a permanent employee and therefore they are agreeing. The question is, did that person have a choice? We are in a country where still there is so much unemployment. And there are a lot of people out there who will say that we have pain, we have misery. We know we are being used. We know we are risking our lives. We know we are stressed. Does it not cause not just physical hardship, but mental stress to a delivery worker to get you that pizza in 10 minutes? Put yourself in the shoes of that gig worker. Deepinder Goyal, Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit, whichever companies are doing it. Put yourself in the shoes of that gig worker and say, what will happen if biryani is delivered in 15 minutes and not 10? What will happen? You want to create a situation where you say, I have a market advantage over a retail company, because people are very lazy nowadays. They would want the pizza in 10 minutes. They don't care if somebody dies delivering that pizza. I would tell you, people care. I'm happy that Blinkit, I'm told, has stopped its 10-minute delivery branding. But to Blinkit, I will say branding is not the point. Make a statement saying that you will not do it and open yourself up for questioning. Blinkit, Swiggy, Zomato, and Zepto cannot get away with this. They have to tell us why they did it. Because if there is no other value addition that you are providing apart from the time of the delivery, the time work of the delivery, I want to ask these people, Swiggy, Zomato, Zepto, Blinkit, what study did they do after which they came up with this 10-minute delivery scheme? Which study did you do that? And don't fool us. Don't say, oh, I'm close by, I've set up such a hub and spoke model that I'll get you the biryani in 2 minutes. It's not true. Is there anything written that if a delivery is from a place more than 1.5 kilometers away, then it can be, because it will take time to deliver to your home. Assume 4-5 minutes for the transit within your residence welfare association or within your building. Would you then say effectively the time for travel is 5 minutes? Despite the traffic, despite the roundabouts, despite the time, you still are promising a 10-minute delivery? And viewers, please do not fall prey to these quick commerce companies which are doing this. Tell them to stop. Refuse them. Reject them. Make them sensitive. Ladies and gentlemen, it's easy to build valuation without empathy. Let's stop doing it. Let's debate.
For years, India's quick commerce giants sold one promise: speed. 10 minutes, no excuses, no delays. But the promise came at a cost, pushing riders to race, rush, and risk their safety on the roads. Gig workers across India protested. From Telangana to major metros, riders demanded dignity, fair pay, safer working conditions.
अभी हमारी तो मांग यही है कि हमारे पैसे थोड़े बढ़ाए जाएं, जो हमारे 4.5 किलोमीटर 5 किलोमीटर के 20 रुपए दिए जाते हैं उस पर थोड़ा ध्यान दिया जाए।
नहीं, प्रेशर तो होता ही है 10 मिनट में, बट डिलीवरी तो नहीं हो पाएगी। 10 मिनट में कैसे पहुंचेगा आदमी?
हम जल्दी के चक्कर में जाते हैं, रेड लाइट भी तोड़ते हैं रूल्स, और हाँ चालान भी भरते हैं, और वही 50 रुपए 60 रुपए के चक्कर में अपना नुकसान भी करवा लेते हैं, तो उसमें क्या कह सकते हैं हम।
Amid rising concerns, the Union Labour Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has stepped in. Following the intervention, Blinkit has removed its 10-minute delivery claim from all platforms. Others are backing off too. No more rigid delivery deadlines. In response, the government has proposed a major welfare move. Gig workers may soon get access to central social security schemes, health cover, and accidental insurance. This is more than just a rollback of a marketing slogan. It is a warning to platforms built on pressure that speed cannot come at the cost of human lives.
I haven't heard of a more stupid and exploitative thing ever. Stupid, exploitative, unreal, profit-seeking, empathy-less, mad, crazy idea than 10-minute delivery. If you leave these people to it, let me tell you, Sushil, they will promise 5-minute delivery, 2-minute delivery, 1-minute delivery. They won't care about the red light, challans, accidents, people dying, injured. They don't give a damn. Valuation. They have to build a subscriber base, you see. They have to go back to their American or Korean or God knows what investors and say, see, this is how things happen in India. There are so many people to exploit. And then these people will say, fantastic, well done. And then we will call these people, Sushil, on forums and say, these are the tech whiz kids of India. What hogwash, whiz kids. No, Sushil, this. I'm so happy this is happening. I'm opening the lines. I'm telling you today, these are not cool tech whiz kids. These are people who have mastered the art of exploiting the poor. And let me tell you, to the middle class and upper middle class that wants its pizza delivered in 8 minutes and 10 minutes, think of the lives at stake. Piyush is on the call. Call in today. Reject these companies for doing what they are doing. And I'm saying, where is the compensation? Where is the compensation on these companies for the damage they've already done? And then you want to say, I'll wear this thing on my head. I am the new Elon Musk. I am going to test something, chip on my head. I am a whiz kid. Rubbish, you're not. You're not. Open the lines. Piyush is going first. Piyush. I'm welcoming everyone. Subhranshu Singh, fantastic voice from the world of business and marketing. And Sanjay Gaba, All India Gig and Platform Workers Union. Piyush Joshi, national spokesperson AAP. Lokesh Jindal leans to the right these days. Sushil Kedia of Kedianomics and Manish Pariyar is on the debate. Piyush, you're first. You're first.
There are two
Yeah, thank you so much, Arnab, for having me on such an important debate. There are 2 points that I take forward from this particular topic of yours. One is that it takes a Aam Aadmi MP for people to understand that what this 10 minutes fiasco means. For those people who are trying to earn their daily wages or daily bread through hard working, through signal jumping and whatnot. So, bravo to Raghav Chadha for bringing this issue to the forefront, for speaking so ardently and so strongly in favor of those who can't speak for themselves. Number two, where is that clear-cut e-commerce, business guidelines? Unless and until the government fixes those accountabilities, until the government forms a law for the functioning of those e-commerce companies, we are always going to see the
They are
exploitation one
doing
way or the
whatever the
other.
hell they want to do. It took a nationwide strike by the gig workers platform. And earlier, before that, the government did not say the gig workers are doing a good thing.
Because the government is counting the gig workers as the job creation. Na? The prime minister at the highest of the state from the Lal Killa has mentioned that the gig economy is contributing to the India's bright picture of economy. So that's the vision of the honorable prime minister for employment generation. That he is counting all the gig workers
Is it contributing? Is it contributing only into the pockets of those who are exploiting the gig workers with their big valuations? We have a big debate on lots of callers tonight. I have Lokesh.
On 9th of December, when the labor code was enacted, was basically put into action. Over there were clear-cut guidelines for gig workers. Social security welfare schemes were announced, social protections were introduced, and conditions were laid down. Sir, get your facts correct. In the labor codes,
Lokesh,
it
it is
was
just
in the labor
similar
code, it
to the
was
internship
clearly
scheme of the
written.
honorable prime
Please allow
minister.
me to complete. Allow me to
It is
complete.
similar to the
In the
internship
minimum
scheme. What
wages were
happened to
to be
those
applied for
interns?
the gig workers. They were to be
Well, it
formalized.
doesn't happen this way, bhai. It doesn't happen this way.
Working
Where
force,
is the
e-shram
guideline
cards
for
were
the
to be
e-commerce
Now I don't
companies?
understand. 1 minute. Now I don't understand. So why doesn't the Blinkit fellows and all Zepto come here and talk about this? They're happy to go everywhere else. We present these people as some innovative people. They just made money. Come on, Lokesh, listen. 1 minute, Lokesh, listen. I want to know from Blinkit that, dear Blinkit, do you now solemnly swear that you will never try to implement directly or indirectly a 10-minute rule? Will you therefore say that we care for the safety of the gig workers? We are no longer in the 10-minute delivery business. This statement must come out. Sushil, this statement has to come out. It has not come out. There's no way they can avoid. Sushil, yeah. Open up.
I have one simple
Yeah.
question. If 10 minutes is too risky, then is 20 safe or 30 safe or 1 hour safe? And who's going to decide it? I think the best decision is the marketplace. If insurance policy premia for gig workers have not gone up,
hogwash.
have not
10
gone
minutes,
up, then there is no
marketplace.
substantial
Market,
exposure to
okay, 1 minute. Sushil, this is a strange argument. No, suppose the market says, why blame the market here? You should not, no, 1 minute. It's like saying, I'll tell you, it's like saying that you won't die having cocaine once. You might die having an overdose of cocaine. Whether or not the overdose of cocaine is allowed depends on market conditions. Allow me to complete. Why don't we legitimize the sale of cocaine depending on market conditions? There may be a market demand for cocaine.
Arnab, that's a bad example.
It's a perfect example. It's a perfect example. You are telling people become lazy, sit there because you don't have 2 legs to go and buy cabbage from the market, and you want to get it. You want to get it in 10 minutes at home.
So does 10-minute delivery.